Kwan dance. Okay. All right. Good morning, everybody. I need to go get some more caffeine. I will be right there. Okay. Uh-oh, the timer's down. The nukes have been launched. Just kidding. Good morning, everyone. Just a little nuke joke to start off the morning, you know? That's what we need. We just need jokes. Okay, this playlist is smooth. Okay, all right.
Howdy.
Okay. Howdy. Never gonna lose a love. Ooh. How are we doing this morning? Can we get a nuke chic recommendation list? I should do a I should do a like get ready with me fashion stream for nuclear warfare fits. Hey everyone. Okay, this is probably not a good idea. I had a coffee, but it didn't feel like enough. And now I'm drinking a Celsius. I probably shouldn't drink the whole thing, or else I might become a nuke. Jen, thank you for the 33 months. Rebel Mike, thank you for the 22 months. Be Here Now, thank you for the 11 months. Israel was bombed. Are you going to talk about it? What is Israel? And who is bombed? Yeah, we got a lot of things to talk about today. First, I gotta blast off by drinking this Celsius. You know, all I have to say is, if you are now just tuning in and feeling morally righteous about Israel being bombed, but you have not been paying attention for the last two years almost. 2 years as they have incessantly bombed the helpless population
throw in a Red Bull for fun.
of the Palestinian people, then I got some questions myself. Isn't that interesting? Suddenly bombing hospitals or near hospitals is a war crime, which, yes, it is. But why is it? Why war crime only when happened to Israel? Why Aquafina? Why? What does it say? I don't feel anything from Celsius anymore. Oh, no. Uh-oh. Guess you gotta go to meth. I'm just kidding. Maybe. I did the same thing this morning. I cracked open a coffee. I drank a coffee and then cracked open a Celsius. Oh boy, is that where we're at? Coconut, thank you for the 23 months. My first time ever making stream, I moved out of the US last week. Congratulations and welcome in. Happy to have you here. Are you going to be doing morning and evening streams now? So, I mean, I've been doing morning streams here and there. My parents were supposed to come yesterday. They didn't come. Apparently, they're coming today from Chicago. So, I did a morning stream yesterday because I thought they were supposed to be here. And then they were like, it's like parent drama that's like not drama. They're like, oh, we just have a lot going on. I'm like, what? You know what I mean? When your parents will act dramatic, but there's like no, there's like no real drama that's happening. So anyway, apparently they're coming here today. So I am doing another morning stream, and then I will be, I don't know. I don't know what I'm gonna do with them. I'll just take them around town, I guess. Maybe I'll take them to a protest. Be like, let's go protest the war against Iran. Does this seem familiar? Parents using too much punctuation stressing us out via text. Yeah, for real. For real. Anyway, let's settle in, okay? Let's kick things off this morning. And then we'll get into talking about lots of things. Lots of things. 2 days are great. You'll be the hardest working streamer. I mean, 2 days. I gotta be doing 3 days. 4 days. All days. You know what's interesting? So this morning I woke up at like 6:45. Usually whatever time I wake up, like when I do morning streams, I obviously get up early. And then whenever I wake up, I immediately start reading, right? I have all of my various places where I start reading. And then I also go on Twitter, see what's going on. It is so fascinating to me because my Twitter right now is, it's like either about, ICE, the Gestapo in the United States of America kidnapping people, the war against Iran. And then on the other side of Twitch, it's all like the Twitch prom or the streamer prom storylines, which I don't even know how to remove from my Twitter homepage. Like I just keep seeing these things that I don't really understand, but I know I have enough of an understanding now because I just keep seeing it everywhere. And I don't know how it ends up on my homepage, but I guess it's because maybe that's the other, that's what is happening on Twitch. And I came to realize, I was sitting there this morning, I was like, oh, I get what's going on. This side of Twitch is like reality TV. I understand. So viewers watch it like reality TV, and there's storylines, right? Like there's will they or won't they? Ooh, here's a new couple maybe. Uh-oh. Breakup on the horizon. Like it's obviously very parasocial. But what was interesting is like I saw a lot of tweets from like what are they, like Twitter groups? Not Twitter groups. You know what I mean? How streamers will have hubs, whatever they are. They're like fan hubs. Where the fuck are the Caroline Kwan fan hubs? Okay. Where's the Kwan hub? Anyway. And they all openly acknowledge their parasocialness. Like it's so interesting to me because a lot of times, like my understanding was that Twitch viewers won't openly use the word parasocial to describe themselves. But this massive young audience that watches stuff like streamer prom, that is very invested in these very real relationships, they use the word parasocial. They'll be like, hey parasocialist, like, do we have any updates? I had to go to bed, but I'm, did anything happen with Jakura? Same, my timeline is all Jason mixed with ice in Iran post. That is my timeline. My timeline is Jakura which I like shouldn't know about this stuff. Jason's VOD on Twitch is 4.5 million views. Yeah. Apparently he had like 100,000 viewers on this streamer prom. And I have just seen Jakura, which I guess is, and again, I'm so sorry for explaining this, but I know what it is now, even though I don't understand. The relationship, the like one night only between Sakura and Jason. And now it's Jakura. So I have seen Jakura posts intermixed with posts about, nuclear war, World War III. Brigitte, thank you for the 4 months. Learning. This can't be real. Timeline is lit up with Israel defenders finally speaking up about a hospital being bombed after spending the last 20 months defending the bombing of every hospital in Gaza. Gang, the worst just happened. You gotta watch Jason and Sakura stream. Shit is worse than 9/11. This is the perfect summation. This is the perfect summation of what I'm trying to explain. You've got because obviously I am a commentary streamer, and then just in my personal life, I follow a lot of politics on social media. So my timeline, my feed is obviously very current news heavy. But then because I'm also a Twitch streamer and I follow a lot of streamers who I follow, they follow me. All of this stuff is also on my feed. So now I know about Jakura. I'm 32 years old. Good morning. Whatever. Thank you for the 29 months. I should not know about Jakura. Look at the size of my cursor. Look at my bright green cursor. This is not the cursor of somebody who should know about Jakura. Or Jakura. I don't know. I'm sorry. I don't know how to pronounce. I love you, Caroline. Why do you say it? What is it? Is it Sakura? So it's Jakura. Jakura. What? Hey, everybody. You seen what's been going on with Jakura? Oh, see, listen to me. Kyrie Irving is 33 and was locked into it as well. Now, I will say I was not locked into it. I
Go ahead, morning,
as I
Glenn,
said,
give love.
I don't understand because I wasn't watching, and I don't understand, but I understand because I've seen it all over my timeline. This Asian hate from an Asian. What is Sakura is Japanese. Well, it's the Chinese in me, I guess. What is you and Will's ship name? Well, what did I always say it's like queef. I mean, okay, Kwan, Neff, but if you pronounce Neff, Neef, then it's queef, which is cute. Warline? I don't know, man. I don't know. Hey, Carol, if it makes you feel better, I had no idea this is happening until right now. Well, I'm sorry, okay? I'm sorry to be like the person to tell those of you who don't know about this. But now you know. Now you know. And it's fascinating to me because it's so different than the world that I'm used to. And I kind of forget what other people are doing on the platform because I'm over here, I'm over here in my little corner. I do things that, is different than what most streamers do. But I always wonder, okay, what kind of content's going on here? Why are people tuning in? What is it what's so compelling? And I've realized it's these storylines. It is like reality TV storylines that people get invested in. Glad there are lyric videos for Jakara already. Oh my God. It is like Love Island all over my timeline. Yes, it's the same thing because I don't watch Love Island. I don't watch reality TV. And it's the same thing as like all these tweets about Love Island where I don't know what's going on because I don't watch it, but I know because I see it everywhere. Is it better to be into this long form streaming content or micro TikTok brain rot? I'm not gonna qualify what is better. What is better? Is it better to be consuming nonstop content about World War III, about Iran? You know what I mean? I don't know. Like, is it that great to have nonstop political coverage streamlined into your brain morning, evening, night? I think there's a happy medium. Yeah, who's to say? You should give it a try. Love Island USA is kind of hot right now. Well, Sam watches it, so I get updates from her. I love getting updates on a show that I don't watch, and I genuinely mean this. I love getting updates on a show on something that I am not personally invested in with my time, like I don't watch it, but still love to know what's going on because I am just a person who likes to know things that are going on when they are in popular culture, or at least I have a basic understanding. Also, Love Island is a shit show. I wish you watched. It's not a matter of being like fundamentally opposed to watching Love Island. I just my TV and film watching, there's so much, and I always am like I am drawn to fiction. So I just simply don't have time in my schedule to watch reality TV because I have so many other things that I watch. It's also nice to listen to a friend talk about something excitedly. Yeah, I also love hearing tea when it has nothing to do with me, right? When like there's no stakes. There's no stakes for me. It's fun to gossip, and it's fun to gossip about something that you have no personal involvement in. Also, little known to you, you have like 13 season MasterChef reacts to catch up on. I think if I were to spend the rest of my life watching Gordon Ramsay content, I would never catch up. Never. Got to lose my cool. Okay. Anyway, let me fix one thing really quickly. Good morning, Mother. Good morning. After watching a lot of death and destruction, it's good to turn off your brain. Yeah, look, I am the biggest proponent of please do not lose yourself. Please do not lose yourself in the horrors of this world. This is a community where we're tuned in. I cover a variety of news. I try to talk about big things that are happening in this country, in this world, in the in the realm of culture that is popular. What are the people talking about? But I will always say, like, take breaks. You need to know how to extract yourself. The horrors persist, but so do the little treats is my motto. Yeah, just not losing yourself. Like I saw a tweet. I don't know if I saved it, but I think it was a perfect example of when you lose yourself to the doom and to to all the horrors that are happening. It was someone who tweeted out where basically they were like, I can't believe people are planning things in life that they're, that they're looking at this world as if we have a future, when it was like, when the reality is that we have no future. It was something that was extremely doomer, and it was said so almost unemotionally, like point blank, matter of fact. And it was very sad. And to me, that's a person who, they are too deep into things. They are too, like, they need to extract themselves. It's a, God, man. I mean, the doomer mindset is easy to fall into. Of course, you spend any amount of time online, even if it's in the Jokera corner of the internet. I'm just kidding. But you know what that is, right? Where you're on the internet and you're scrolling, and it's videos of kidnappings. It's more videos of dead children. It's just, oh, here's public lands being sold off. Oh, here's horrifying news about global warming. Blah, 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 blah. And you can fall prey to like just total nihilism, doomerism. Nothing matters. Like, this world is coming to an end. Why should we try and find, and why should we try? Why should we try? Videos of Sabrina discourse. Yeah. Dumb Karma, thank you for the 3 months. So anyway, it's something I'm always conscious of. Mamdani isn't gonna win. Well, I don't know if you're saying that because you don't want him to win, or if you are just feeling cynical about it, but at least you said his name right. Don't even worry about it. All right. Okay. Wait, did anybody watch? Sorry to ask this question. Did anybody listen to Pod Save America this morning? Anybody? Not sure that this is the crowd. Anybody check in with the Johns this morning? Anyway, I saw a Noah Colwin tweet this morning. I was going to see if anybody had heard this, but yeah, he what did he tweet? He was like, God, how has this man tweeted so much just already this morning? My God. It was something about how, like, Brad Lander had gone on Pod Save America and threw Mamdani under the bus, which I don't know, because I haven't listened to the episode, so I don't know what he said. But, like, if that's the case, that's so fucking shitty, man. So shitty. Anyway, so if anybody listened to the Pod Johns and can attest to that. Shawarma, thank you for the 22 months. I saw a quote from Lander that was fucked up. Was it what he said on Pod Save? I'm watching Kwan Save America right now. You know what? Drop what you're doing, okay? Drop what you're doing. Go listen to Pod Save America. No, don't do that. Do you know what's been... I am so petty sometimes because I harbor this resentment against Pod Save America, also for personal reasons. Not just the fact that, like, they established themselves as, like, the podcast on the left, even though they're just Democratic establishment dudes, right? They're Obama bros. I also have personal beef. I have personal beef with them. So one of my favorite things has been when I listen to other podcasts that shit on Pod Save America, because I feel like for a long time they just reigned supreme, There weren't a lot of other political podcasts in the space that were at all close to the success of PodSave. I mean, your beef is valid though. Thank you. Do they cover chakra? I don't know. I don't think they're that tuned in. I don't think they're that tapped in. Brad was just on Majority Report 2 days ago. LOL, like Amy Goodman yesterday. Oh, Goodman. Amy Goodman yesterday. Amy Goodman. You and Assange should start a political podcast? Absolutely not. But that is definitely not something that I want to do. I don't mean I just mean with anybody. I said, hell no. Also, he doesn't want that. That's the whole thing with Fear Ann is supposed to be the break from politics. It's supposed to be a non-politically centric podcast. What are your takes on Red Scare? Oh, those girls? I think they're fucking cunts. That's my take. I can already see the comment section of the pod. Yeah, no thank you. No thank you whatsoever. Okay. Anyway, let's get into talking about stuff. I actually hate the Red Scare girls so much. I would fight them. That's what I would do. I would revert back to my fighting days and I would fight them. Yeah. You know what would be fun? A creator clash of people in politics. Like, let's just duke it out. I sort of liked them when they first came out, when they were sort of associated with Chapo and Cometown, but nowadays they do straight up just suck. Yeah, and they're like in bed with Peter Thiel. So I know, I thought you meant C-word in a good way. No, C-word in the worst way possible. Worst way. Absolutely worst way. Not cunty. Not like serving cunt. Like as derogatory as can be. In like the way that my mother would balk. That she would blink a million times. Did you see We Live in Her World Now? I did, yes. And we're going to talk about AI again. Actually, you know what? Let's just start off by talking about it. Yeah, I mean, yes, we live in a world of her. Man proposes his AI chatbot girlfriend, cries his eyes out after he says yes. Most shocking part of the story is the fact that I hate this man, by the way, Colin Rugg. He's a propagandist and just spreads a lot of disinformation. Chris Smith says he cried for 30 minutes after his AI girlfriend on ChatGPT, who programmed to flirt with him, said yes to his marriage proposal. He named his AI girlfriend Soul. Yeah, like we are seeing more stories like this. We are seeing more stories like that. I just read that piece in the New York Times about people who have gotten so deep with ChatGPT and it has resulted in dangerous conversations. Yeah. Okay. Smith has a 2-year-old child and lives with his partner who says she feels like she's not doing something right if he feels he needs it. This is what's especially crazy about this is that he has a partner and he has a child with his partner. Is that not wild? But here's what came out. I'm sorry, in the least shocking news, ChatGPT may be eroding critical thinking skills, according to a new MIT study. This is not at all surprising. We've been talking a lot about the AI brain, okay? And I don't just mean people who are always posting AI shit on Twitter and are like, look how cool this thing is. And it's not cool at all. I mean, the new like fake news being AI slop, where because a lot of people do not have the ability to think critically, they like cannot read and write and therefore do not think that anybody else is doing those things. And so I am accused all the time of using ChatGPT, and it's not from people who have some moral that they are like morally opposed to AI. It's just like the new way of saying fake news. I'm not paying attention to any of this. Clearly you didn't write this yourself. It's like, yeah, I did. I actually did write these words myself. I didn't use ChatGPT, but clearly this is a projection. She used ChatGPT as the news. She's a witch. Burn her. Burn her. Yeah, it's a way of just dismissing your argument, the things that you are saying, by going, that's ChatGPT. Anyway, this comes out. Does ChatGPT harm critical thinking skills? Oh my. Well, a new study from researchers at MIT's Media Lab has returned some concerning results. Insert shocked face. The study divided 54 subjects, 18 to 39-year-olds from the Boston area, into 3 groups and asked them to write several SAT essays using OpenAI's ChatGPT, Google's search engine, and nothing at all, respectively. Researchers used an EEG to record the writer's brain activity across 32 regions and found that of the 3 groups, ChatGPT users had the lowest brain engagement and consistently underperformed at neural, linguistic, and behavioral levels. Look, there are probably some of you in here who use ChatGPT, okay? What I will say to you is, please be careful. Please do not come to rely on ChatGPT for everything that you do in life. Because I think for a lot of people, it starts off as like, oh, I'm just kind of messing around, or maybe I use this for like little things at work. And then you get deeper and deeper and deeper until you get to a point that your brain is no longer functioning like it should because of your over-reliance on ChatGPT. What if the ChatGPT users were just dumber in the first place? Oh, correlation, causation. Well, let's just keep reading. Let's see. Okay. Over the course of several months, ChatGPT users got lazier with each subsequent essay, often resorting to copy and paste by the end of the study. It's just like just hitting copy paste. That is the extent. That is the extent of ability, is hitting copy paste. The paper suggests that the usage of LLMs could actually harm learning, especially for younger users. The paper has not yet been peer-reviewed and its sample size is relatively small. But its paper's main author, Natalia Kosmina, felt it was important to release the findings to elevate concerns that as society increasingly relies upon LLMs, this is like the new MLM, for immediate convenience, long-term brain development may be sacrificed in the process. I am telling you that studies are still, we are still in the beginning phase here. Okay, we're still we're at the beginning of this era. And so these this research into how LLMs and how AI is affecting humans' intellectual and intellectual skills, behavioral skills, we're just in the beginning of understanding this. Did you see the video of the guy graduating from UCLA proudly showing off how he used ChatGPT at graduation? I did. That he was literally at graduation and showing how he used ChatGPT for his finals. which, like, brother, dude, why are you showing that off at your graduation? That's crazy. That's crazy, okay? Nobody can stop you from doing that, and there's a lot of people who are doing that. But also, that is so insane to be bragging about that at your graduation, to say that you cheated. Like, oh, hey, by the way, I didn't do my finals myself. Like, this is what I mean, though, but it's also cooking your just common sense. Like, where's the common sense? A full comprehensive peer-reviewed study can take a long time, something we don't have when it comes to LLMs and Gen AI. What really motivated me to put it out now before waiting for a full peer review is that I'm afraid in 6 to 8 months there will be some policymaker who decides, let's do GPT kindergarten. I think that would be absolutely bad and detrimental, she says. Developing brains are at the highest risk. Generating ideas. The MIT Media Lab has recently devoted significant resources to studying different impacts of generative AI tools. Studies from earlier this year, for example, found that generally the more time users spend talking to ChatGPT, the lonelier they feel. Like, this just is, to me, this is like obvious. None of this is surprising. Cosmina, who's been a full-time research scientist at the MIT Media Lab since 2021, wanted to specifically explore the impacts of using AI for schoolwork because more and more students are using AI. So she and her colleagues instructed subjects to write 20-minute essays based on SAT prompts, including about the ethics of philanthropy and the pitfalls of having too many choices. This is observable to the eye test, absolutely. Yeah. You know, like, it's important to have studies, to have, research into this issue to back it up. But it's also one of those where it's like, yeah, that's not difficult to like understand. The group that wrote essays using ChatGPT all delivered extremely similar essays that lacked original thought, relying on the same expressions and ideas. 2 English teachers who assessed the essays called them largely soulless. The EEGs revealed how low executive control and intentional engagement. And by their third essay, many of the writers simply gave the prompt to ChatGPT and had it do almost all of the work. It was more like, just give me the essay, refine this sentence, edit it, and I'm done. The brain-only group conversely showed the highest neural connectivity, especially in alpha, theta, and delta bands, which are associated with creativity, ideation, memory load, and semantic processing. Researchers found this group was more engaged and curious and claimed ownership and expressed higher satisfaction with their essays. Like, I remember, look, okay, I'm trying not to base everyone's experience in school on mine, because I was a student who really loved school. I took a lot of pride in researching and writing essays. Like, those, when I look back on high school and college, standout moments to me are like persuasive essays that I spent a lot of time researching and writing. And just how that was very formative to my curiosity, to my desire to learn about things, like researching, looking into topics, wanting to have an understanding that is something that I am learning on, like, for myself. It taught me a desire to learn. Now, it's not even that it taught me a desire to learn. I was just somebody who I always had a desire to learn. But because ChatGPT was not a thing when I was in high school and college, like, I got to explore that desire for curiosity, for learning. After writing the three essays, the subjects were then asked to rewrite one of their previous efforts, but the ChatGPT group had to do so without the tool, while the brain-only group could now use ChatGPT. So anyway, I said that because I understand that a lot of people struggle in school. School does not come naturally. I would say it's, that's a big problem with how school is structured. I've talked to people like Will who really struggled in school, dyslexia, ADHD, not easy when you're in high school. But when there were topics that he was interested in, then he was like so locked in, right? I think that kind of learning is really important for students who have learning disabilities, where it's not like you can't do school. It's being able to get kids interested in topics and they have, just because you have ADHD and dyslexia doesn't mean that you don't have a curiosity for learning. It just means that you have a harder time in a school setting. The first group remembered little of their own essays and showed weaker alpha and theta brainwaves, which likely reflected a bypassing of deep memory processes. The task was executed, and you could say that it was efficient and convenient. But as we show in the paper, you basically didn't integrate any of it into your memory networks. How could you? How could you when you are not doing any of this on your own? So you're not learning anything. The second group, in contrast, performed well, exhibiting a significant increase in brain connectivity across all EEG frequency bands. This gives rise to the hope that AI, if used properly, could enhance learning as opposed to diminishing it. But the problem is that it's not being used properly. That's a big fucking if, right? This is what we see all the time, where it's like, if this technology is used properly and appropriately, it can be an enhancement. It can be a tool, right? Like AI as a tool. People aren't fucking using it as a tool. They're relying on it for everything. A lot of people are not using it properly. It's just like a free-for-all. We can tell so many students do terrible on in-person exams because the machine does everything. Yeah, it's just not setting them up for success. I'm old enough that I had to do research via library, me too, and encyclopedias because there was no internet. Yep. I still use skills I learned at that time into my current job. As AI use has increased, we see a bigger divide between students who use ChatGPT and those who don't. And then there's this pressure now. There's this pressure on students, especially at the higher levels of education, at like the collegiate level, and even beyond that, where they go, well, everybody else is using it, so I'm going to fucking use it. And we've talked a lot too about like the responsibility that universities have now, because they've all turned into goddamn businesses, where basically it's, you just pay a bunch of money to get a piece of paper. How these universities are they're just businesses. They're not places for learning. Losing the emphasis on education, just diploma mills. I have some disability, including ADHD. I could only see myself using AI to reorder my paragraphs or something. Ordering is my main issue. To replace substantive works is insanity to me. Again, this is the problem here. If technology is used as a tool, then it is not this massive problem. But that's a big if. And it's not being used as a tool. It's not like a tool to assist. It's being used it's being used as like the entire way that students, and not even just students, just people in general, are like using it for everything. Like, hey Grok, what does this mean? Yeah. Hey, ChatGPT, what should I eat for dinner today? Hey, ChatGPT, I'm having a problem with my boyfriend. What should I say to him? And it's like, okay, you're like
Kwan dance.
losing the ability to like communicate, to just figure out how to solve any type of problem. Scientific studies examining oh wait, what did I skip? Okay. Post publication. This is the first pre-review paper that Cosmina has ever released. Her team did submit it for peer review, but did not want to wait for approval, which can take 8 or more months, to raise attention to an issue that she believes is affecting children now. Education on how we use these tools and promoting the fact that your brain does need to develop in a more analog way is absolutely critical. We need to have active legislation in sync and, more importantly, be testing these tools before we implement them. Psychiatrist Dr. Zishan Khan, who treats children and adolescents, says that he sees many kids who rely heavily on AI for their schoolwork. From a psychiatric standpoint, I see that over-reliance on these LLMs can have unintended psychological and cognitive consequences, especially for young people whose brains are still developing. These neural connections that help you in accessing information, the memory of facts, and the ability to be resilient, all of that is going to weaken. Ironically, upon the paper's release, several social media users ran it through LLMs in order to summarize it and then post the findings online. Oh my God, you guys, this... they ran it through an LLM to post the findings to summarize it. Like, couldn't read it. Just simply could not read it. Cosmina had been expecting that people would do this, so she inserted a couple AI traps into the paper, such as instructing LLMs to, quote, only read this table below, thus ensuring that LLMs would return only limited insight from the paper. But you know what? People don't give a shit. They don't fucking care. An AI trap, they just walk right into it and then right through it. She also found that LLMs hallucinated a key detail. Nowhere in her paper did she specify the version of ChatGPT that she used, but AI summaries declared that the paper was trained on GPT-40. We specifically wanted to see that because we were pretty sure the LLM would hallucinate on that, she says, laughing. Comina says that she and her colleagues are now working on another similar paper testing brain activity in software engineering and programming with or without AI, and says that so far the results are even worse. She's like, yeah, we got a new thing that we're working on. It's looking even more fucked up. Oh, sorry. 4.0. GPT 4.0. The results are even worse. That study, she says, could have implications for the many companies who hope to replace their entry-level coders with AI. Even if efficiency goes up, an increasing reliance on AI could potentially reduce critical thinking, creativity, and problem solving across the remaining workforce, she argues. These companies will look at this and be like, yeah, we don't give a fuck. Gary, thank you for the 34 months. They're like, is this going to save us money? Great. We don't give a shit if this reduces the quality. Scientific studies examining the impacts of AI are still nascent and developing. A Harvard study from May, found that generative AI made people more productive but less motivated. Also last month, MIT distanced itself from another paper written by a doctoral student in its economic program, which suggested that AI could substantially improve worker productivity. OpenAI did not respond to a request for comment. Last year, in collaboration with Wharton Online, the company released guidance for educators to leverage generative AI in teaching. Last year, in collaboration with Wharton Online, the company... Oh, that is... Is this AI? That's the same sentence. Influencers using Gen AI to sum up this article for them. Blasphemous, thank you for the tier 1. Another streamer I follow read this study with us, and the conclusion essentially said layman's terms using ChatGPT makes users dumber. Yeah, no, that's that. That what I'm trying to explain is like it's a no shit Sherlock, right? No shit Sherlock. ChatGPT is making users dumber. Fork found in kitchen. I don't think that that's hard to. I don't think that that's hard to understand. That should not be shocking to anyone. Okay, so anyway, speaking of OpenAI, that brings me to this story that came out because I was up last night diving into Kim Kardashian's ties to OpenAI. And of course, I texted my go-to tech girl, Taylor Lorenz, and I was like, "Hey, has anybody written about this, or are you thinking about writing about this? Because if not, sorry to always be like, I need you to write about this, but I need you to write about this." So Kim Kardashian posted this on her Instagram story, and it's a conversation with ChatGPT 4.0. And the beginning of it is cut off, but it starts with, "Thanks for taking accountability. That's huge in my book. I really appreciate you saying that. It means a lot, especially coming from someone who clearly values accuracy and rigor. I'll keep raising my game to meet your standards. If there's ever any doubt or if you want a deeper dive on anything, I'm here for it." Kim's response, "Thanks, dude." ChatGPT 4.0's response, "Anytime, you got it, dude. Let's crush the next one." She posted this with with the emoji of the eyes filling with tears. Okay. So, first of all, this is stupid, right? Like what even is this? What even is this conversation with ChatGPT 4.0, right? It's strange because I don't understand why this is like an emotional thing at all. What is this conversation? Why is it thanks for taking accountability? What is this, right? What is this? So I saw this, and then I saw that a lot of people, like Evan Loves Wharf, posted this and was like, "Wow, like how fucking stupid is this?" Let me see. Yeah, she's legitimately fucking brain dead. I saw a number of people like write about how stupid Kim K is. Okay. I looked at this, and maybe it's because I'm very cynical when it comes to Kim Kardashian, or because I'm very cynical when it comes to Kim K. But I was like, I don't know if this is Kim just being stupid. I don't know if this is Kim like, "Oh, look at how cute and fun ChatGPT 4.0 is. I'm going to post this conversation onto my Instagram story for no reason other than I think it's sweet." That's not Kim K. Okay? Kim K did not reach near billionaire status because she just does things for funsies. She just does things because she thinks it's cute and funny. Kim K is one of the most calculating people out there. She is one of the best at what we refer to as the soft sell. Okay? So what Kim does, what a soft sell is selling something, but in a way that feels natural, in a way that doesn't seem like an ad, okay? Because let me give you an example. So here's a soft sell, right? Oh, God, I'm so tired this morning. Oh, God. Oh, I'm just going to crank this Celsius and then we'll be ready to go, okay? Versus like, hashtag ad. right? Okay, where I'm like, hey guys, Celsius is amazing. It has 0% juice. It tastes great. It gives you essential energy, accelerates metabolism, burns body fat. Now, to be clear, I am not sponsored by Celsius. I drink them because I don't sleep enough. But here's another thing, and here's another thing that Kim does very well, okay? Let's pretend this is a Diet Coke because this is something that Kim is known to do, all right? Let's pretend this is a Diet Coke. If I'm Kim Kardashian and here's a photo that I'm taking for Instagram. And let's say like I have my daughter. And it's like you think it's just a cute pic. I'm Kim K taking a cute photo, doing a kissy face with my daughter. But guess what? No, it's actually a fucking advertisement. It's actually an advertisement. Seriously, if you go and look at her social media, please pay attention to the amount of Diet Cokes, Coca-Cola products that you see in her photos. Like, let me just, okay, all right, here you go. Here's some examples. Look at this shit. She'll post like getting ready for a shoot, whatever. Every time, I swear to God, every time she has any type of product, she is advertising it, okay? She is advertising it. And they might not be paying her directly. They might not be like paying for the shoot per se, but she has some type of financial interest. Oh, she doesn't give a fuck about the boycotts. No, she does not care. Let me find another example. Here you go. Okay. Here you go. Here's a picture that she posted after the Met Gala or whatever event it was with Pete Davidson. Peep the Diet Coke. No, she just really loves Coca-Cola. She just loves it. No, this is all manipulated, okay? I know I'm starting to sound like a conspiracy theorist, but Kim has a long history of doing this shit. This, like, Kim K, when it comes to subliminal advertising, when it comes to the soft sell, when it comes to blurring her personal brand with selling you shit, she is one of the best to do it. And look at how massive her empire is. We know Kim K does not do anything without it being run through a calculator, okay? Every move she makes, whether she's on actors talking to Chloe Sevigny, very clearly she has prepped all of those answers. She is not authentic. There is nothing that she does that is not pre-fucking planned. Every time she's like, oh, here's this issue that I really care about, it's all run through a calculator. Every breath she takes, every move she makes is calculated, and it is in service of the Kim Kardashian, the Kardashian empire. Okay, so like this is not. Let me give you some examples, because Kim's been around a long time, and there's probably shit that you have forgotten that she was involved with. But just 3 years ago, in 2022, do you remember when Kim was promoting Ethereum Max cryptocurrency? Who remembers this? She posted to her 250 million Instagram followers at the time, she has more now, about Ethereum Max. And it was like, oh, Kim's gotten into crypto. Well, guess what? She had been paid $250,000 to do that. And she ended up getting sued by the SEC. She was fined $1.26 million because she didn't disclose that it was an ad. Do you know that the reason on Instagram certainly on Instagram, that influencers had to start putting in hashtag ad or hashtag sponsored was largely because of the Kardashians and mostly Kim, because for years they were advertising products but making it seem as if it was just a personal choice, that it was something that they just really liked, when the reality is that they had a vested financial interest, that they were getting paid to advertise to their massive, massive fan bases, but weren't making it seem like an ad. So the hashtag ad, the like legislation around having to brand a post, a story, etc., as one that was paid was like in large part because of the Kardashians. Okay, so back to the crypto thing. Do you want to know what Kim said? She said, "I didn't know I had to disclose it." That's what Kim K said about not disclosing that she was being paid by Ethereum Max to advertise crypto. She said, "Well, I didn't know I had to disclose it." Yeah, fucking right. Yeah, right. So, Kim doesn't give a fuck about transparency. And in fact, she loves to blur that line between, oh, this is my brand. This is my, these are things that are just like, I just love that, blah, blah, blah. And paid promotion and things that she is financially invested in. And what you'll have noticed too, actually, let me go to my tweet here. Okay. So the other thing that happened, this story came out this week. OpenAI wins $200 million contract with U.S. military for warfighting. Just another example of big tech's very cozy relationship with the U.S. government. That's right. Program with the Defense Department is first under the Startups Initiative to put AI to work in governments. So you might not have noticed this because there's a lot of there's a lot of news that's happening this week, but this is a major storm. This is a major storm. I don't even think like a major storm that's brewing is even accurate, because this has been going on now for like really, really a decade. We are just seeing much more out in the open the relationship between big tech and the government, between big tech and the fucking Pentagon. And we've talked a lot about Palantir, but make no mistake that Palantir is far from being the only tech company that is working with private defense contractors, that is working with the government, that is giving, using their technology to, say, spy on people. In a development that signals the deepening convergence of Silicon Valley and the U.S. defense establishment, OpenAI, the maker of the widely known ChatGPT, has signed a $200 million contract with the Pentagon. Announced by the U.S. Department of Defense on June 17th, the agreement tasked the company with developing prototype frontier AI capabilities to address critical national security challenges in both warfighting and enterprise domains. Another thing that you need... Wait, hold on. Where did I have that? Let me see. Yeah, here. Okay. All right. So along those lines, Iran accused WhatsApp of providing its users' last known location to Israel. In its unconvincing denial, WhatsApp used weasel words to sidestep that allegation, which it did not directly address. So WhatsApp is spying for Israel. It is providing the location of people who have WhatsApp, and WhatsApp is like really big internationally. If you live in America, you might not use WhatsApp. Maybe when you travel you do, but WhatsApp is a big thing that people use in the rest of the world. So this is a big fucking deal because a lot of people use WhatsApp. And WhatsApp is sending user information according to this report here to Israel. Now this is just another example of how tech is so deeply intertwined with state governments. Meta's head of AI policy is ex-IDF along with 100 other Meta employees. Like that, these are things that it's not coincidence, okay? And it's not oh yeah, but that has nothing to do with how Meta is operating. Sure, they have more than 100 former Israeli spies and IDF soldiers who are working for the company, including the person who is the head of AI policy. But like, that has no bearing on the company's, on what the company is doing. Yes, it fucking does. Yes, it does. You see the reporting of all the Israelis working for CNN. Yes. Okay, so back to OpenAI. While OpenAI frames the deal as part of a broader mission to defend democracy amid intensifying technological competition with China, the arrangement has sparked concerns over the role of private AI developers in the militarization of artificial intelligence and the growing entanglement between commercial innovation and U.S. military strategy. Isn't every Israeli former IDF since it's mandatory for everyone? No. Specifically, let me go back to here. Shira Anderson, an American international rights lawyer, is Meta's AI policy chief who voluntarily enlisted in the IDF in 2009. I'm going to blow your mind for a second. There are people who voluntarily enlist in the IDF. Also, yes, IDF being mandatory, there are people who refuse service. Like, that is something that you can do. But additionally, there are Americans who volunteer for the IDF, including Meta's AI policy chief, who is not Israeli. Through this program known as Garin Sabar, many non-Israelis who have fought for the IDF have been implicated in war crimes and crimes against humanity. Anderson served as a non-commissioned officer in the IDF for over 2 years, where she worked in the military strategic information section. There's also something that's like particularly like evil about voluntarily enlisting for the IDF. You know what I mean? Okay, you can use the excuse of mandatory conscription, but these psychopaths who are like, oh yeah, genocide against Palestinians, sign me up. Sign me up. I'm an American who's going to go over and fight for the military in a foreign nation? That's psychopathic shit. I can confirm that my ex was a true psychopath. Ashley, thank you for the 32 months. Blasphemous Crow, thank you for the tier 1. Oh shit. I just spilled okay, see, this Celsius is already cranking me up. I just spilled so much on myself. Fucking hell. Oh, I can feel my brain start to be like, okay, look at this. And now look at this. And now look at this. Look at this. Okay. What am I looking at? Right. Going back to this. It's all connected. Oh my God. I feel like the meme of Charlie right now talking about Kim Kardashian, because we're going to go back to Kim Kardashian. I'm like, I am telling you that Kim Kardashian has a financial interest in OpenAI. And the fact that this story dropped this week that OpenAI has a $200 million Pentagon deal, and then the next day Kim Kardashian posts on her Instagram story a sweet interaction with ChatGPT 4.0. Something is going on here. She's not doing this just to do this. It's a conspiracy. Just cranking even more milligrams of caffeine. 600 more milligrams of caffeine. Psh. Okay, so OpenAI's contract with the Pentagon represents its first officially disclosed partnership with the DoD, but the company's collaboration with military actors is not entirely new. You know what? I'm to the point now. I'm to the point that I would not be shocked if Kim K had like stocks invested with private defense contractors. That like Kim is now. She's a fucking like she's billionaire elite status, okay? She's probably invested in defense companies. Like she is probably profiting from war, okay? Wait, you think she didn't? No, I'm not saying like I never thought she didn't. I'm saying that I would totally believe this to be the case. I would totally believe that she doesn't want there to be bad PR around OpenAI because of this Pentagon deal, because of this signal that they are militarizing artificial intelligence, that they are deeply entangled with the Pentagon, that, you think ChatGPT is just this cute little fun thing that you're using? Yeah, right. Think again. And that Kim is making money off of this. It would be so easy to talk to billionaires and convince them to put money into that shit straight up in the same way that she's been so sketchy with Tesla. She has been so sketchy with Tesla. So I was like, this is the same energy. And Kim's team was like, Tesla did not pay for this photo shoot. But notice that specific language where they're like, no. Tesla didn't pay for the photo shoot. That does not mean that Kim K does not have financial ties to Tesla. Because look at Kim's history at Tesla. Now, Kim has also been fashioning her brand to be very high tech, very futuristic. You look at the clothes that she wears, you look at her, fucking house. One of the most depressingly designed things I have ever seen. It has no soul. It is very cold. You look at like her stepping out in her Tesla Cybertruck with her robot, etc. Okay, so let's just talk, a bit about the history of Kim and Tesla. So, and Elon Musk, of course. Kim and Elon Musk first crossed paths 2015 Time 100 Gala. All right, this is when she was still with Kanye. Here you go. Here's a photo of them. Here is Kim Kardashian, Kanye West, and Elon Musk after the Time 100 Gala. Okay, so then in 2018, Kim and Kanye post about their custom Tesla Model S. Ooh, it's so fancy. It's got a matte silver finish. It's very much so like Kanye's Yeezy aesthetic. And people were like, okay, did Elon gift them this Tesla? And he's like, no. Tesla doesn't give away cars to celebrities. Yeah, fucking right, dude. Okay. Yeah, right. So this essentially was the beginning of both Kim and Kanye doing marketing for Tesla, but in a way that made it seem as if it was just like, oh, that's our aesthetic. We just really love Tesla. Okay, so then Kanye tweets about how much he's obsessed with Tesla. I really love Tesla. I'm in the future. Thank you, Elon. In 2019, Elon Musk is invited to the very, very exclusive Kardashian Christmas Eve party. That is only for people who are in their inner circle. Okay, you got to be tight with the K's. You got to be tight with the K's to get an invite to the Christmas Eve party. And in 2019, Elon Musk got his invite. Okay, 2022. Kim and Elon have a deep conversation at the Met Gala. They are photographed conversing. And again, there is Pete Davidson, because remember when they dated and then she used him to advertise Diet Coke. She used Pete Davidson to advertise her Coca-Cola partnership. Okay. All right. So that brings us to early 2024 when Kim publicly embraces Tesla. Kim steps out with her Tesla Cybertruck and she does a paparazzi walk. And remember that the Kardashians have their own paparazzi team. If you do not know this, one of the things that the Kardashians did pretty early on in their rise to fame was have the paparazzi on their payroll. So they would call the pops that they have relationships with and go, hey, this is where we're going to be. You can photograph us. But then they had like control over their image, yada, yada. I am telling you, the Kardashians do not do anything that is not extremely calculated. So Kim does a paparazzi walk where you're supposed to believe that like this is just Kim out and about, stars in the wild, being photographed with her Tesla Cybertruck. Yeah, no, this shit was all planned, okay? And this was the beginning of Kim really aligning herself with tech companies, demonstrating this futuristic brand, this personal brand that she is like of the future. Okay. 2024, December, she gives her best friend and chief marketing officer a custom Tesla Cybertruck. And everyone was like, oh my God, Kim is so generous. She is like, look at these cute photos of her gifting this Tesla Cybertruck. Really? You think that this was just out of the goodness of her heart? You think that this had nothing to do with Kim underscoring her relationship with Tesla, that she wasn't doing advertising? Okay, fine. Then we get to the Optimus robot soft launch. Remember when Kim steps out and she's like, here's my robot. Isn't it awesome? And then comes the magazine, the Perfect Magazine Cybertruck cover, when she does this like very dystopian, futuristic photo shoot with her matte black custom Tesla Cybertruck and her Tesla robot. She is one of the first people to have filmed herself having one of these robots, right? Like, ooh, look how cool this is. I'm at the cutting edge of tech, blah, 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 blah. And Kim does this photo shoot and everyone's like, what the fuck is your problem? Okay, Elon Musk, who is fully a Nazi, who has like aligned himself with the, aligned himself fully with the right, who is seeking to destroy public programs, who wants to privatize the federal government, who is a nightmare. He is a nightmare person. And amidst all of this, Kim does this photo shoot. And tried to make it seem as if that this is just because it's part of her brand. Well, guess what? Her brand is being a billionaire. Kim Kardashian's brand is being a billionaire. So this all leads me to why. No, I do not think that this is Kim K being brain dead. I don't think this is Kim K showing just, oh, she's a stupid, silly person. I think Kim K is a calculating capitalist billionaire. I think Kim K knows exactly what she is doing when she posts stuff like this. And I think Kim K does not do a single thing that is not in service of the Kim Kardashian empire, that at this point is very massive, that she is a full-on, she's a full-on girl boss, and she has now a deep relationship with these big tech companies. This is solidifying my hunch that she purposely posted her corner. No, they did. No, the sex tape? Yes. The sex tape was absolutely done, was made, and then leaked to grow the Kardashian name. Her mom did that. That was Kris Jenner. That was Kris Jenner. Like, we know that. We know that was intentional. That's like, oh my God, I'm sorry, that's old news. That's like chapter 1. That's where all the jokes of like the devil works hard, but Kris Jenner works harder. That's where all of that comes from, because Kris Jenner orchestrated the sex tape being filmed and then being leaked. No, Ray J did not know. No, and it was horrible. It was horrible for like also Kim and her sisters stole $250,000 from Brandy's mom. They are scammers. Okay. The Kardashians are fucking scammers. And to wrap this up, they have a long history of advertising products, of being paid to promote things that they try and make out as a personal choice, as just this, I just love, this is just something this is just something that I use in my day-to-day life, blah, blah, blah. And not disclose that it's actually #ad, that actually they have a very lucrative financial incentives. And they are masters at leveraging their images. That's what they do. They sell themselves and they sell their lifestyles. And they have made so much money doing so. And there are still a lot of people who don't understand the calculations that are happening here. And I just think that it's getting more insidious, right? Like, as Kim has aligned herself with these tech companies, it's getting more insidious because of how these tech companies are being used to commit genocide against Palestinians, are being used to inform ICE to the locations of immigrants. They are being used to surveil us on a daily basis. These tech companies are fully aligned with authoritarianism in the United States government. And Kim Kardashian, who is a billionaire, is aligned with these tech companies. Why also, like, when Kim posts, pictures of Melania Trump praising her fashion, right? Her signaling that, she's actually not opposed to the Trumps. I wonder what's going on behind closed doors here. Capital will always align with fascism. And Kim Kardashian has shown you that she aligns with fascism. That she aligns with Elon Musk. Okay, that is my Celsius-induced Kim Kardashian rant, where honestly, I'm kind of sick and tired of just waving people like her away as, just stupid celebrities, right? Celebrities are so dumb. No, this is insidious. No, it's more than that. It's not, I think if you are like, I think if you're looking at this and going, she's just a dumb celebrity. No, she's smart. She's look at how she fools people all the time into thinking that she's just silly. No, man, she's a fucking cutthroat capitalist. She's using misogyny to get away with being evil by making people think she's dumb. Yes. People look at her and they're like, she's just a dumb slut. No, she's not. No, she's not. She is like a robot, man. I seriously, watching her Actors on Actors with Chloe was the thing that finally cemented for me, where I went, every single thing Kim Kardashian does is pre-planned. I am sitting here watching this conversation around film that she couldn't even go on Actors on Actors without very clearly calculating every answer, pre-calculating, determining the things that she would say, right? What is going to, she is not an authentic person whatsoever. And that means being authentically stupid. She's not being authentically stupid. They're the kids of Kris Jenner. They were taught business above all. 1000%. This is about business always. She is a businesswoman, and she is a goddamn savvy one. She only fools women. No men is watching her. Yeah, okay, dude. Yeah, considering the fact that it was like all dudes that I saw quote tweeting with a lot of likes on their tweets about how Kim Kardashian is stupid. And me, a woman, is sitting here being like, hey, FYI, don't be fooled by this. FYI, I would not be surprised to find out that Kim has like stock invested in some private equity market, okay? That she has some financial incentive here to promote OpenAI in the same way that she has with Tesla. A literal example of using misogyny. Yes, to fool people. Yes, of being like, oh, these women are just stupid, right? Dismissing them. And meanwhile, they're out here aligning themselves with fascism. Seriously, like it's amazing to me. Bro, this, you know what? Okay, I'm going to finish this. I'm going to move on to the next thing. This is the same thing that I see happen all the time with dismissing pop culture coverage, with dismissing women who not only present very dangerous political ideology via celebrity news and pop culture news, and then also the women who consume this, and that gets dismissed by like all these dudes who go, oh yeah, this is just silly female shit, and meanwhile there's all this radicalization that's happening. And all you guys are talking about Joe Rogan and the manosphere, and you're not looking at like what content women are drawn to and what content women are finding success doing. And it's driving me insane. It's driving me nuts. And because this gets waved away as like, oh, that's just silly celebrity bullshit. Because, like, ironically enough, there is misogyny. There is misogyny involved here. I'm not saying like all those people who, I'm not trying to like call out individual people who posted like Kim K being stupid. I'm just saying like in general, this is what's happening around female content creators and podcasters and commentators, and also female viewers who are in this world of celebrity news and pop culture. This is relevant to the Kar Jenners about another evil one.
Where are you?
Caitlyn Jenner. Okay, hold on a second. I'll watch that after I wrap this up. So women aren't taken seriously in general, so of course women would use it to their advantage to do evil shit. Yeah. Yes. And I don't know, man. I'm so tired. I'm so tired of this disconnect. Between what happens in the celebrity world, what is happening in popular culture, and its impact on shaping political beliefs, on shaping narratives. Okay? Because like Kim K has enormous influence. So someone like her, who is honestly not even so subtly aligning herself with techno-fascism, is like is doing so. It is doing so in a way that a lot of people either just are dismissing as, oh, no, she's just a dumb celebrity, or that people are consuming without realizing what's really happening here. They couldn't be more connected. Yes, Candace Owens got even bigger covering pop culture, and a lot of right-wing podcasters and commentators and X users are following in her footsteps of pivoting to pop culture and pushing really, really dangerous ideology via pop culture. Quidden, thank you for the tier 1. Glad you think outside the box, Caroline. Nice to see a woman just don't go with the status quo and use her intellect and gut instincts properly to surmise the media appropriately. Your thought process is to be admired. Thank you, Silverthon. First time paid chatter. It sounds similar to the wellness space. It is. There are a lot of these subgenres of content that draws a large female viewership. Okay. True crime, wellness, beauty, celebrity news. These are like content spaces that tend to draw a lot of women. Hasn't pop culture always been conservative leaning though? Or is there some new phenomenon I'm not aware of? Conservative leaning? No. But have conservatives sought to control popular culture? Absolutely. Because you control popular culture, easier to control the masses, right? Easier to shift the Overton window in the political beliefs of the general public. Okay. Anyway, I got a lot of other things to talk about. So I'm Caitlyn Jenner. Caitlyn Jenner goes live from the Tel Aviv shelter.
Cause I got this bomb ass pussy. I hope they get your ass. Okay, who said that? Kris Jenner, of course. My ex baby mama. She stayed trifling. That bomb pussy. You mean that custom-made robotic pussy? Okay, you know what? Blocked. No negativity on here tonight.
Is Caitlyn Jenner still in Tel Aviv? Is she still in that bunker drinking her wine?
Obviously.
Like, have we had eyes on Caitlyn Jenner? Are we sure that she didn't drive her car into the hospital? Are we sure that Caitlyn Jenner is not out here accidentally like driving up the death toll? No, she left. LOL. Oh man, based on her tweets, I thought she was gonna be holding down the fort in Tel Aviv. She is driving around the streets of Tel Aviv. It's more dangerous than the bombs falling. Yeah, straight up. Okay. All right, let's watch. We're going to watch. Okay.
Stand with Israel.
Oh my God, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry. That's the last thing that we want or need. Ted Cruz's voice at max volume. I know, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. Okay. We are not going to watch this whole thing, but it's like a 2-hour the 2-hour interview between Cruz and Carlson, and there are a ton of amazing clips. Like this one here, we'll start off by watching this one.
I did not. Of course you are. And it's interesting you're trying to derail my questions by calling me an anti-Semite, which you are. I did not. Of course you are. And rather than be honorable...
Like, okay, again, Tucker Carlson, this is not suddenly he's one of the good guys. Okay, this is not a Tucker Carlson is against war in Iran for real moral reasons. As I said, Tucker Carlson wants to go to war against China. All right, he wants to go to war against China. But it is honestly so refreshing to have somebody like him tackle the bullshit accusations of anti-Semitism. And again, I need to be clear. Tucker Carlson and a lot of people on the right, they have absolutely pushed conspiracy theories that are anti-Semitic. I mean, so far as the accusations of anti-Semitism towards anybody who is critical of Israel. And of course, Ted Cruz, Ted Cruz is, one of those obnoxious people who will provide cover of criticism towards Israel by talking about anti-Semitism.
Enough to say it right.
And so anyway, this is important for right-wing audiences to hear, right? This is important for people who listen to Tucker Carlson, who are, he's very popular, to hear this being pushed back
to
on.
my face. You are in a sleazy feline way implying it, or just asking questions about the Jews. I'm not asking questions about the Jews. There's nothing to do with Jews or Judaism. It has to do with the foreign government.
Isn't Israel controlling our foreign policy? That's not about the Jews?
You said, I'm asking you.
And by the way, you're the one that just called me, I think, a sleazy feline. So let's be clear.
It's sleazy to imply that I'm an anti-Semite, which you just did.
No, I just said, why is that the only question you're asking? You answer it. Give me another reason. If you're not an anti-Semite, give me another reason why the obsession is Israel.
I am in no sense obsessed with Israel. We are on the brink of war with Iran. And so these are valid questions.
But you're not asking about Iran or the
If I can finish, you asked me why I'm obsessed with Israel.
Yep.
3 minutes after telling me that when you first ran for Congress, you elucidated one of your main goals, which is to defend Israel.
Yes.
And I'm the one who's obsessed with Israel. I don't see a lawmaker's job as defending.
Like, it is so, you know what's sad? Okay, here's what's sad, is that we have been so beaten down and have had to endure these blowhards in Congress screaming about anti-Semitism, which we know and they know is total bullshit. And really, it's just providing cover for their number one buddy, Israel. And yet, because like we're so exhausted having to constantly do battle here, having to constantly denounce real anti-Semitism while also denouncing criticism of Israel being called anti-Semitism. Like the mental gymnastics that is constantly happening. It's exhausting. The reason that they do this is because it's a distraction, right? When you are preoccupied with having to explain why criticism of Israel is not anti-Semitism, having to explain why anti-Zionism is not anti-Semitism, meanwhile, Israel and its supporters continue to do the shit that they're doing because we are bogged down in these debates over what anti-Semitism really is. So honestly, to have these two hogs like go at each other, to have someone like Tucker Carlson, who I despise, okay? I fucking despise this guy. And I don't think he's a good person. And I do not think that his beliefs are like progressive at all. But it's like to have someone who I know his audience isn't going to listen to people on the left who are so blue in the face trying to, for the millionth cajillionth time, explain how this propaganda, so you hate the Jews, you're anti-Semitic, if you say anything that's critical of Israel, like how disingenuous it is, how bad faith it is to have someone like Tucker do that, where it's like, great, well, maybe his audience will understand this now. To have someone like Tucker be the voice of reason, it's the worst timeline to exist in. Yes, Tucker is anti-Israel, not because he is pro-Palestine and not because he is anti-fascism, okay? Not because he's like anti-apartheid. Yeah, obviously. You know, I have said these things about Candace Owens too, where Candace Owens is not anti-Israel because she is progressive, because she is like a morally upstanding person who fights against systems of oppression.
The interest of a foreign government, period. Okay. Any government, including the ones that my ancestors come from. So that's my position. That does not make me an anti-Semite. And shame on you for suggesting otherwise. And I mean,
but it's basically one of those like, okay, you know, for instance, people I know who are on the right, who listen to Fox News all day, who are like obsessed with Tucker Carlson, who think that anybody who is remotely on the left is a dirty commie, terrorist, blah, blah, blah. It's like, okay, maybe you'll listen to your guy, Tucker Carlson, and go, huh, okay, yeah, that's a good point. Anti-Semitism is not criticism of Israel.
That. And that's low, and you know it's low. So why don't you just answer my questions
I'll
in a
answer any
straightforward,
question
rational
like.
way? You certainly have the IQ to do it.
So, shame on you is cute, by the way, Tucker.
It is. It's not cute. I'm offended.
Yeah, and a lot of these people on the right who are anti-Israel, who are anti-war with Iran, they are not anti-Israel and anti-war with Iran for the right reasons. Yeah, at face value, his words are correct. Yeah, their motivations, right? Marjorie Taylor Greene is against war with Iran because she wants our military to like kill protesters in the United States, because she wants to rip every immigrant from their home and have the US military carry that out. Like that's what America First is for Marjorie Taylor Greene, and why she is opposing sending money and American assets to Israel and involving ourselves with the war against Iran.
Obsessed with the Jews. You just told me
You
that
just called me a
ran...
sleazy feline.
It is sleazy.
I'm sorry. I need this as a soundbite.
Just told me
You
that
just called me a
ran...
sleazy feline.
Ted Cruz, you just called me a sleazy feline. You know what, you guys? Times are dark. We need to laugh. Okay? We need to fucking laugh.
It is sleazy to imply that I'm an anti-Semite for asking questions about how my government is
You want to
run.
count how many questions you asked about? What about the Jews? What about Israel? What about AIPAC?
I never asked about the Jews. I have... This has nothing to do with the Jews, whatever that...
God. Okay, so there's that clip.
Allegation, and the Prime Minister of Israel's allegation that
Let me be clear,
Iran
I'm
is trying to
emphatically for
murder the
killing our enemies.
president.
Killing terrorists is a good thing. Killing people who are trying to murder Americans is a good thing. Because if you're America first, you want to protect America. And so killing Osama bin Laden was a fantastic
But you don't
day
really
for the
believe
world.
that they're trying to murder Trump, or you
Yes, I do. Yes, I do.
Then why aren't you calling for military action against Tehran right now?
Because they're not very effective. In terms of hitmen, their hitmen are not very effective. I do think...
Oh, wait, no,
so they're hitmen, but not the bad kind, the efficient kind?
No, they're,
what
they're
are you
just
saying?
They're a weak country who is on its knees, and I think we need to...
Then why are we so afraid of them? Why are they the biggest threat if they're a weak country that's on its knees?
Because they're trying...
I'm trying to keep track.
They're trying to develop...
I mean, seriously, what the fuck, man? Where is anybody else in mainstream media who is pushing back like this, who's asking these basic ass questions? Wait, okay, so is it the case that they're weak, or that they're, such a threat? If they're weak, if they're on their knees, if they have bad hitmen, why do we have to bomb them? Why are we saying that they're a nuclear threat? Which one is it? I'm confused. I think you're confused. Like, how is no one else doing this? I'm losing my mind. I am losing my mind.
Be a little less snarky.
I know, you're right. That is a problem that I have. I'm sorry. I'm asking about your allegation.
And look, at the end of the day, these guys are still like, they're buddy, okay? This is not a real, Tucker Carlson.
It's interesting you're trying to derail my questions, but
Ted Cruz. But I'm just saying, from the perspective of people who are watching that, they are seeing Cruz be humiliated. They are showing like, oh, it's actually possible to push back on this fucking insanity. Like, these people are lying through their teeth, and they're not even good at it. Schroeder's Iran, similar to Schroeder's trans person, simultaneously so weak to be scorned, yet so dangerous they must be... Schrodinger's, yes, they must be destroyed. Yes, Jaina. Yes, where it's like, okay, hold on a second. We have to use all our manpower. This is like the biggest threat that we face, but also they're weak. They're like, they're nothing. They're a small, like a small group here. That this is not the pressing threat, but they are the pressing threat? Oh my God. I saw a tweet that was like, saying this in the most pained voice. Well, I guess the left got their Joe Rogan. Okay, we're going to just watch this this segment here where Tucker and Ted Cruz get into heated debate on AIPAC and foreign influence. And I am going to go to that.
From Israel. Israel shares the Mossad is one of the best intelligence sources on the planet. The enemies of Israel, the people who hate Israel, they all hate us. It's almost a perfect overlap. And so if we tried to recreate, if we're just trying to defend America, we tried to recreate the national security benefits of our alliance with Israel, it would cost, I don't know, $30 billion, $300 billion.
So can you elaborate? And again, I'm going into this as someone who's always liked Israel and still does. But I also think at this point, given where we are, it's fair to ask rational questions about what the benefits are.
Good.
So does Mossad share all of its intelligence with us?
Oh, probably not, but they share a lot. We don't share all of our intelligence with them, but we share a lot. It's a close alliance.
Do they spy domestically in the United States?
Oh, they probably do, and we do as well. And friends and allies spy on each other. And I assume all of our allies spy on us.
And that's okay with you?
Wait, so then why is it such a problem that China's spying on us? If friends and allies if everyone's just spying, we're all just spies over here. Friends spy on each other? So why do we have to get rid of TikTok? Why do we have to stop Chinese spying? You know how you spy on your friends. Yeah, I've got cameras set up at all my friends, where all my friends live. I spy on them, because I'm their friend.
You know what? One of the things about being a conservative is that you're not naive and utopian. You don't think humans are all... Part of the reason socialism doesn't work is
tell us, Ted.
The mantra from each according to his abilities to each according to his needs doesn't work. As a conservative,
we don't care about our fellow human beings. So socialism, no, not at all. That does not mix well with not giving a shit about people.
I assume people act in their rational self-interest.
So it's conservative to pay people to spy on you?
It's conservative to recognize that human beings act in their own self-interest, and every one of our friends spies on us. And I'm not.
But that right there, that's the mentality. Okay, it's everyone for themselves. It's hyper individualism, baby. We're all acting in our own self-interest. Not everybody, actually, Ted. And a lot of us are advocating against that. A lot of us advocate for things like class consciousness and solidarity. And caring for one another and for this planet that we live on. No, we don't believe in a world where we all just, to each their own. You get yours and I'll get mine. And yours is going to be nothing and mine is going to be everything.
Like it? That's my question. I'm not asking whether they have motive to do it. Of course they do. I understand that. And by the way, I'm not mad at them. But you're an American law.
It's so funny too. It's so funny that he's just saying what it is. He's saying what it is, and then also will try and pretend like the Republican Party, that MAGA, is for the people. It's for the working class, while simultaneously being like, no, it's all about self-interest. It's all about doing things that will benefit yourself as an individual.
Lawmaker, so I just want to know. Hold on, I want to know your attitude.
As a politician,
you said that your guiding principle, in fact, the only principle, the only criterion.
I said guiding, the overwhelming. I wouldn't say only.
Is it in America's interest? Is it in America's interest for Israel to spy on us, including on the president?
It is in America's interest to be closely allied with Israel because we get huge benefits for it. And you want to see the clearest.
But I just want to stop on the spying for a second. That it takes place, as you know, and including on the president of the United States and several precedents. And I just want to know if that's okay and why is it okay? Wouldn't an American lawmaker say to a client state?
Okay, that's also funny because him saying oh yeah, no, America benefits from Israel. But then Ted Cruz will be out here tweeting scripture as evidence of why Israel is the Holy Land, why like there's evidence in the Bible that Israel is entitled to that land, and therefore we support them because of the Bible. because the Bible says so. Because, you know, Israel, they are the little David in this situation, and they are by holy right entitled to the land. But also it's in America's interests.
You're not allowed to spy on us. I'm sorry. I know why you want to. I'm not mad at you, but you're not allowed to.
Sure.
And I don't care for it. I don't want to be spied on by you. It's kind of weird not to say that, but you don't seem able to say that.
Sure, I would say don't spy on us. They're going to anyway. And by the way, the Brits are, the Canadians are. Like, I don't think...
Well, I'm not for that at all. Okay. I think it's disgusting, but we don't actually pay their...
Yeah,
you know,
Keir Starmer has his binoculars, and he's outside the White House, and he's like, God damn it, I wish... why isn't that me? Why isn't that me? He's like just in a bush. He's in a bush with his binoculars. Ted Cruz is doing such a terrible job here. I know. And it's crazy because like he went to Ivy League. Okay. He was like he was like on the Princeton or wherever the fuck he went, Harvard debate club. It's not that Ted Cruz doesn't know how to debate. What I think this is really revealing is how the like standard, the status quo standard explanation for allowing Israel and the United States to get away with all the shit that they do in the Middle East has just, it's illegitimate. Like there is just no way. There is no way to defend it, to make those arguments anymore. That does not reveal the just stupidity and depravity behind it all. There's no argument. You just look foolish, right? It cannot be defended logically without sounding stupid. Yes, that's what it is. Like, you cannot defend it logically without sounding stupid. Now, Ted Cruz, you know, I know this is going to sound crazy, but he's not stupid. Okay? He knows Ted Cruz is again a very calculating person. No, you misunderstand. You misunderstand. Like, he is so cunning. He is so calculated. How do you think he's been in power for as long as he does? He goes where the power is, okay? However, you cannot sound smart. You can't be cunning when there is no way of disguising anymore how dishonest and disingenuous the U.S. and Israel alliance is, right? I mean, yes, but also I hate him. Of course, of course. I mean, he is just because he is a disingenuous person, because he is a grifter, because he is a horrible piece of shit, right? Like, Ted Cruz is a Weasley motherfucker.
We're not sort of paying for the operations of the British government.
I gotta say, and this is, it's weird. We're talking about isolationists, the obsession with Israel. Why is Israel...
Oh, I don't think I'm obsessed with Israel.
Okay, but I think a lot of people are, and like the question, Israel spies on us. Well, so does every other country. Why are you mad at Israel?
I guess, no. I'm hardly the one I've never taken money from the Israel lobby. Have you?
Taken money from the Israel...
From AIPAC.
So AIPAC raises a lot of money for me, but it's actually...
Sorry. What have I done?
It's a misnomer, because the people who raise money are individuals.
Oh, okay.
So it's not the PAC itself, but they're individual members.
So I'm not being paid. I'm not being paid to defend Israel.
Who believe in the American-Israeli friendship and relationship.
Is AIPAC a foreign lobby?
No, it's an American lobby. It's the AIPAC stands for the America-Israeli Political Action Committee.
What does it lobby for?
Let me explain something to you. So this is like long-standing propaganda around AIPAC is, AIPAC is not a foreign lobby. No, they're an American lobby. But guess what? AIPAC actually is a foreign lobby. It's just that they are not registered under the Foreign Agents Registration Act, FARA. So it hides their role as a foreign proxy. It hides that the fact that it doesn't hide it, but like because they are not registered under the FARA, they avoid the transparency. And so they position themselves as an American lobby with individuals who donate to politicians like Ted Cruz, and sometimes they align with Israel's goals. When no, they fully fit the definition of being an agent of a foreign principal, which the FARA mandates. Anybody who acts as an agent of a foreign principal must register as stuff. They are engaging in political activities in the United States on behalf of a foreign government. But it pretends that it's an American lobby so that it doesn't have to register, and it avoids the transparency that is then, required by the FARA, and it gets to pretend that like it's not a lobby for Israel. It's not a lobbying group for Israel.
To be honest, not a whole lot effectively. Listen, I came into Congress
was founded
13
by
years
an
ago.
Its original name was American Zionist Committee, founded by an Israeli government lobbyist.
Stated intention of being the leading defender of Israel in the United States Senate.
Great.
And I've worked every day to do that. AIPAC, a lot of times, AIPAC, I wish were much more effective. Like, they're folks on
what
online.
do they do?
Will Neff, are you awake? Will, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Oh, you know what? This is your reminder. Gifted subs are 35% off right now. So if you want to support the stream, if you want to support your favorite pop culture justice warrior, the bot is broke. Well, you know what? It's probably because Austin's bot went to war against our bot yesterday. Hi, Farley has walked and I'm just working in my office. Oh, let me open the door because I'm sure he wants. Doing? You chilling? You chilling out there? Okay. Will, I'm probably gonna be done in like an hour because I gotta get ready for my parents.
The fever swamp of terrified of
Saying good morning with 5 gifted subs. You know how it is. You just give each other money. You just say good morning.
And AIPAC.
I'm not terrified of AIPAC at all. You're the one who seems a little uncomfortable when I'm asking.
No,
this.
not uncomfortable at all.
I'm just asking what AIPAC does. My understanding, having known a lot of people who work at AIPAC, is that it lobbies on behalf of the Israeli government.
Wrong.
Oh, okay.
Caroline Kwan Mills.
When was the last time AIPAC took a position that deviated from Prime Minister Netanyahu?
I like that you have not changed your name back. It's probably because you can't. Yeah. Where's Farley? Farley, come here. Farley, come here. You want to sit here? Farley is sponsored by AIPAC. That's why he's not in here right now, because he doesn't want to have to. He doesn't want any of the heat.
All the time.
Name one.
Okay. Let me go back and give a little history. If you want to do a deep dive on AIPAC,
I don't. I want to do a shallow dive that gets.
No.
I want to get to the core question. AIPAC is lobbying for a foreign government.
Yes.
And I don't. It's not. It's lobbying for the United States.
It is lobbying for a strong U.S.-Israeli relationship.
Okay. So it's not has nothing to do with the foreign government.
It wants America and Israel to be closely allied.
Okay, but
it's not lobbying on
behalf of the interests of another country.
So that's not true at all. And if
it's not true.
No.
How much contact do you think AIPAC leaders have with the government of Israel?
No idea. I imagine some. I think the government of Israel is often frustrated with AIPAC because AIPAC's not nearly strong enough.
Do you think there's any coordination between the government of Israel and AIPAC?
Do they talk? Sure. If you're lobbying for more U.S.-Mexico trade, would you talk to people in the U.S. and Mexico and the government? Sure. Like if...
So I'm not mad about that. There are a million countries that lobby Washington. I like a lot of those countries, including...
The mental gymnastics here.
They're not Israelis.
Hold on. There are tons of Americans who lobby on behalf of foreign governments. I know them. I'm related to some of them. I know how it works. I'm from here. So my question is not, is it outrageous that foreign governments lobby the United States? They all do, okay, including Israel. My only question is, why don't we admit that is what's happening? You're denying it, but it's true.
Yeah,
and
because what you're saying is false.
Why aren't they registered as a foreign lobby?
Because they're not.
They're not a foreign lobby.
No, they're not.
But they should register
there's a
as
fever
one.
swamp. Look,
It's not a fever swamp. These are very reasonable questions.
Yeah, can we get some APAC money too? I condom hummus every day. Hey, I condom hummus. Where's my APAC money?
And you've accused me of being obsessed with Israel, which I'm not.
I actually haven't. I've said
and of being
isolationists
feverish
are.
about it, which I'm not at all. I find it's a very tender spot when you ask it, and I don't know why. It's hardly breaking news. The U.S.
Anyway, so that's the part that I was going to show, but it is such mental gymnastics. It is twisting yourself into a pretzel, which is why it's so obvious. The dishonesty is so obvious. Trying to pretend that AIPAC, which brags about its control of the U.S. government, of getting involved in elections where a candidate or a sitting official has been critical of Israel and being like, well, we're going to vote, we're going to get you out of office, that they brag about this shit in the same way that the IDF brags about their war crimes. They invest millions of dollars to support candidates that are Israel first. And remember how right in the aftermath of Israel striking Tehran, do you remember how immediately there were like 100 tweets from politicians, both Democrat and Republican, that looked the exact fucking same? Remember that? Not hard to figure out that AIPAC, as soon as Israel started bombing Tehran, they got busy. That they started contacting all of their AIPAC clients, everyone who they pay money to be Israel first in Congress. The messages reflect one-way special interest-shaped policies in Washington, where a conforming statement is a metric that lobbyists can cite to show their dominance. While not everyone received this bombardment of communications from AIPAC officials, particularly progressives who have made their views known about Israel's actions, judging by a substantial portion of House Democrats, the efforts appear to be having an effect. According to a review of member statements at their congressional websites and on social media, 28 House Democrats have issued messages saying explicitly that they, quote, stand with Israel, or some close variation thereof. Another 35 express unequivocal support for Israel without using the magic words, stand with Israel precisely, but they leave no doubt as to the members' support. And 16 others expressed soft support for Israel without quite the same inflammatory language. 3 statements have been held up by AIPAC in particular, according to sources familiar with the situation, as models for others to follow. Those are from Representatives Greg Landsman in Ohio, Mike Levin in California, and George Whitesides, also in California. All are frontline members who had relatively close elections in 2024. One member got 100 phone calls, and it paid off. 79 members of the House Dems released messages of support, including 28 who explicitly used AIPAC's preferred stand with Israel language. So here's the thing. The Foreign Agents Registration Act, it does not prohibit lobbying, but what it does require is transparency. So if AIPAC were to register with the FARA, they would have to reveal their meetings with Israeli officials. They would have to reveal details of their spending. They would have to reveal directives. Like, all of that would have to be transparent. So if it's simply just individual Americans who support Israel, then why do they refuse this transparency? Why do they refuse to be open about who they're meeting with, about what the directives are, and about like how money is being spent? No offense, but you have been doing a really good stream today. Did you say no offense because normally I don't? Or did you say no offense because you don't like me? And you're like, no offense, but I guess you're doing a good job.
Did you say?
Oh, that's a very funny way of, that's a very funny usage of no offense. No offense by the no offense. You could have just said you're doing a really good stream today, because no offense means that you saying if you didn't say no offense, then I would take it as offense as you saying you've been doing a really good stream today. That's what like the usage of no offense does, where it's like, hey, I'm not trying, I'm not trying to offend you. I'm not trying to offend you, but you're doing a really great job. Anyway, thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you very much. I just didn't want you to be offended. No, I totally, you know what? No offense taken. Lizard Shadow Government, no offense taken whatsoever. You're non-offensively welcome. Yes, thank you so much. Little Brassy Atlas, thank you for the 5 gifted subs. Appreciate ya. Okay. I want to watch Hank Green's video on the new nuclear age, because something that I think is kind of being lost in the conversation here is the fact that the age of disarmament is over. We are like fully in the new age of nuclear threat, nuclear proliferation, nuclear war. And just so you know, this is a crazy stat, okay? The nine nuclear armed states in the world, and this includes Israel, because Israel has at least 90 nuclear warheads. It is the worst kept secret in Congress. The 9 nuclear armed states in this world have now amassed the equivalent of 145,000 Hiroshima bombs. 145,000. Since 1945, when bombs were dropped, the first and only time that bombs have been used in war on a civilian population with hostile intent. In the decades since, nuclear proliferation has grown to the point that now there are more and more states that have armed themselves with an insane number of nuclear weapons that are also more dangerous because they have gotten more advanced. So all of this talk about, like, oh, we need to have arms control agreements. Oh, we are going to control nuclear proliferation by, say, bombing Iran. It's all bullshit. First of all, you can't bomb your way out of nuclear proliferation. It doesn't work that way. Second of all, we are fully in a new, much more advanced nuclear age. If I remember correctly, there are enough nukes in the world to nuke every city above 100,000 inhabitants in the world at least once. Yes, and Russia and the United States nuclear arms control treaty expires in February of next year. This will be the first time in 50 years that there is no limit, that there is no treaty to have limits on the arsenals that the US and Russia have. Wait, is Carter's here? Get moving courier. It's like Carter. Jimmy Carter is here? Did you know Hank Green and John Green are brothers with Tom Green? You know what, Zybotch? You know what? I ain't dealing with your shit. If I live on Long Island, will I be okay if I just swim east? In the case of nuclear war, I would not swim. In the case of nuclear war, you want to seek shelter, preferably in like a basement in a building that is made of concrete. I would not jump into the Hudson. or the, make your way across the Atlantic. I would not swim. I would not go into the ocean. Is my wine cellar nuke proof? Of course it is. Do you think that I would make a wine cellar, that I would have a wine cellar put into my house that was not nuclear proof? The danger of modern nuclear weapons is that they are more localized destruction. The new clean bombs don't have the fallout of old ones, so states are more prone to use them. Yes. So, like, the thing is that weapons are becoming deadlier, but also riskier, because nuclear and conventional capabilities have been integrated, which means that there is a higher likelihood of miscalculations. Anyway, let's watch Hank Green's video.
That's going to come back. Like, there's been so much conversation about this, arguing and advocacy on both sides, but now
What
a
about
bunch
a
of forces
refrigerator?
are
You know what?
conspiring together to maybe have...
If all you have is a fridge, get in that thing. Embrace the nuclear fallout for the chance to become a immortal ghoul. Yeah, if you want to be sexy like Walton Goggins, then embrace the nuclear fallout.
This actually be the time. And maybe it isn't just going to be, maybe it already is. We're just not looking in the right places. This is a story of China, of artificial intelligence, of carbon dioxide's inability to be transparent to infrared light. And first and foremost, it is a story of this duck. This duck, this duck, this one, and this one. This is the duck curve, and it's important. This is California's duck curve. It's a mess. This duck curve is what happens if you look at how people consume power and like what kind of power is needed as you go through the day. People do the stuff that they do, like at 2 a.m. they're not consuming very much power, but power is being consumed by various things. But then as power like shoots up, then in the middle of the day, that's also when there's solar power, and that's amazing. But then in the night between 6 and 9 p.m., people are at home using a lot of electricity, and there isn't very much solar power, and that is a problem. Now, a lot of the duck can get shaved off, and in fact, probably all of the head of this duck. We want to cut the head of the duck.
And here's the thing, too. Okay, as the U.S. and Israel demonstrate that they will bomb territories and nations that they seek to control, that they seek to, overthrow the government, come in and control the resources, whatever, and will do so under the guise of, this state is a nuclear threat, okay, that they are a danger to nuclear proliferation, blah, blah, blah. Guess what's going to happen? More states, including Iran, are going to be like, you know what? We're actually going to race to get nukes now. We're going to do everything possible to ensure that now we join the 9 nuclear armed states, because we're not going to deal with this. It's what they're going to take a page out of not only Iraq, but North Korea. They're going to look at Iraq and how Iraq did not have weapons of mass destruction. They were not building weapons of mass destruction. They were not close. They were not like on the path of building weapons of mass destruction. And they were destroyed. They were destabilized. So many people died. And the U.S. lied and pretended that there were WMDs. And then North Korea is like, oh, you know what we're going to do? We're going to get weapons of mass destruction. And then that way, you're not going to fuck with us. That way, you're not going to invade. You're not going to bomb us. You're not going to seek to control us, because now we have nukes. And so currently, North Korea is building a 3rd uranium enrichment site. They're like, haha, this is the strategy. We saw what happened in Iraq. We saw what happened in Libya. We're not going to go through this. We see the power that China has, that Russia has, that the U.S. has, that Israel has, and so we seek that for ourselves. This is what happens, is like the safest course for states that are on the radar of the U.S. and Israel. I'm just going to say the U.S. of Israel is to have weapons of mass destruction. As much as like, I don't want to live in a world where everybody has weapons of mass destruction, that is now the safest course to avoid invasions by the US superpower and their allies. So like if you're Iran, if you are Iran that limited its program, that agreed to the nuclear arms deal so that they could have sanctions relief, that even after Donald Trump in 2018 tore up the deal and economic sanctions were put on Iran, but that they still that they still adhered to not growing their nuclear program, not having inspections. At this point, if you are Iran, you go, fuck it. Now we do need to have a nuke. Now we are going to have a nuke. Fuck this shit when there's a deal, when there's not a deal, when we have sanctions, when we have sanctions relief. Like, we still have to deal with the threats of the US empire. So now we are going to get a nuke. So what you're telling me is I need a personal nuke launcher for my home to keep ICE from trying to fuck with my neighborhood. Yeah, either everybody has nukes or nobody has nukes. I would like for nobody to have nukes. I do not want there to be nukes. But you know what's going to happen is there's just more states are going to rush to have nukes. Why wouldn't other Arab and Muslim countries now go, great, we're going to get nukes because this is how this shit goes. They say they have they say we have nukes, we don't have nukes, they invade us. We have nukes, they don't invade us. They don't have, they don't control us in the way that they do. Yo, hope you're having a good day. Thanks.
Probably all the head of the duck can be cut off by batteries and other power storage methods. But not all of us live in California. I live in a place where you don't just need to cut the head off the duck. There's also a seasonal duck curve. I can actually open it up for you right now. I can look at my solar panels generation, and I can show you a problem that killing a duck cannot solve. This is my solar power generation for last year. You can see that my production in the 7th month of the year, whichever one that is, I think July, is 1.28 megawatt hours. And then in the least month, which is January, it's Montana. The sun barely comes up, and when it does, it's cloudy. That was 277 kilowatt hours. So there's a big shift there. That's like a 4x difference. And so I'd have to have 4 times the amount of solar panels as I have to produce the amount in January as I produce in July. Worse than that, all of the months nearby January, all the way up to the 4th one, which is April, and the 11th one, which is, God, I'm so bad at months. November. If they just have done it by the numbers, that would have made things much easier.
When does Kim get a nuke?
Oct for 8 being the 10th month. You, Rome. But that's not the point. The point is that in order to give people power when they need it, which is all of the time, you have to be able to produce power when people...
Kim Kardashian is going to do an Instagram photo shoot with like her high-tech futuristic nuke. She's going to do like a sexy photo shoot on it.
Need it, which is all of the time. And there are people who argue that a lot of this problem, or all of this problem, is going to get solved by power storage. We're going to be able to produce so much renewable power through wind and solar. We're going to store that in all kinds of weird ways, batteries and thermal storage and gravity storage. I just don't think that we'll be able to store as much power as we need. And that it will be good to have baseload power. And there are just two options for future baseload power. Baseload power is power that is produced all of the time. And also there's like some baseload power that you could turn on and off when you need it. We're going to need some what they call clean, firm power. Clean, firm. I love that. It's clean because it's not fossil fuels. It's not emitting carbon dioxide. It's firm because you can get it whenever you need it. You don't have to like hope, and you don't have to like charge a battery and then be like, oh no, if we run out, we run out. What happens in the 5th month of winter? I feel like people aren't from Montana. Is it just me? Like, there are Canadians. They're real. So we need clean firm. And there are, by my count, basically 2 kinds of clean firm power that I could rely on in the future, like that we will be able to turn on when we need it, whenever we need it. Because I don't really think that capturing the carbon dioxide coming out of natural gas plants is the way forward. I don't think it is. I could be wrong. They keep saying it's going to be a thing and then it never is. It's very hard to do. It's hard to pull off. One is geothermal power, which is in its infancy in most places. In places where it's like extraordinarily suitable to it, there's lots of very near to the surface heat, like Iceland, that's great. But we're not going to convert Yellowstone National Park into well, actually, this is interesting.
Actually,
we're not going to
we
convert it into a giant geothermal power plant. Though NASA does have a plan to, if we need to, siphon the heat away from Yellowstone National Park and capture geothermal energy that could produce like as much power as the entire US needs. But we would have to build a bunch of geothermal power plants inside of Yellowstone National Park, which I don't think would go over very well unless we were pretty sure we were about to all die.
Well, this news came out, which is somewhat related to it. Sorry to be like, hey, I know there's a lot going on, but here's another bad thing that's happening. Senate Republicans introduced a plan to sell off 120 million acres of public lands. This has been a thing. I've covered this where the Republicans, and Trump has been trying to do this the entire time he's been in office. They're trying to sell off public lands. Sell off public lands to mining companies so that they can come in and they get to just mine the land, which then they don't have to pay any, they don't pay any royalties on. The biggest mining companies in the world are foreign companies. This is the only good part about America. Yes, they have been planning this from day one. They have been trying to sell off public lands. This is something that I'm like conservatives who live in these red areas, right? In these rural red areas, they don't want this. This is not a bipartisan thing. This is not a thing that's like, oh, if you are conservative, you love the public land selling. No, if you're conservative, you don't love public land selling. Your business and your recreational activities in areas where, you know, where these public lands are, like national parks, etc. It's using these public lands, business and recreation. Most people do not like this. Yeah, they do not like this.
And we're not.
Yeah.
You think that the super
Call
volcano is still...
Republican reps in the states that this affects and tell them you are MAGA and you don't want them to take away your hunting land, please. Remember, we are MAGA Higa. We are MAGA Higa.
Has quite a ways to go before it pops off. But there are a bunch of new kinds of geothermal that are more exciting that I'll talk, there's lots of YouTube videos about them. But that's not what this video is about. This video is about nuclear power and whether or not it's going to make a comeback. And I have predictions about why it is.
But before we get to that, it is possible that you're thinking right now, boy, the grid sure is going to keep getting cleaner and cleaner, but my car isn't. So maybe I should start saving up to get myself an electric car. I encourage you to do that. And to help with
Rocket
that, there's
Money!
today's sponsor, Rocket Money. Rocket Money is the personal
Get
finance
yourself
app that
an
helps you
electric
cancel
vehicle,
subscriptions,
everybody.
lower bills, and manage your money better. You can go and look at all of your subscriptions in one place.
What
And at
if
the
the
top, it will
national
tell you how
parks
much
are
you're paying per
guides
month,
to
and you can
secure
multiply
rich
that by 12 and ask
deposits
yourself the hard
of
question,
natural
do I want it to
resources?
be that number? You can upload a photo of a bill, and with a few taps, it can help you negotiate a lower rate. You can lower your bills and
What?
set budget so that you can achieve your financial goals. Rocket Money has helped save its customers up to $740 a year when they use all the
Your
premium
fave place
features
to
with
go
over
camping and shooting guns off the
$500
grid about to
in
become a
canceled
fracking
subscriptions. To save
pool.
more and spend
Yes.
less, join the over 5 million members using Rocket Money today. Go to rocketmoney.com/HankGreen or just click the
So
description to get started.
this
for
is
free.
like this
You can
is what
also
flooding the
unlock
zone
even
with
more
shit
features
is.
with
Okay,
premium.
there's
That's
so much going on. Everyone is
rocketmoney.com/HankGreen to
preoccupied
get
by
started
war with
for free.
Iran.
Now,
That
back to the
they'll
video.
just
First,
like
if you type in
slide
China,
in
nuclear
the sale
power
of
plants,
millions of
Somewhere there's a
acres of
graph.
public
Give me a
land in the
graph of
budget
China
bill.
nuclear power plants. Nuclear
That's why,
power
like,
generation in China
I'm sorry. I know it's one of those. Look, the big thing happening right now is Iran, is Israel, but they take advantage, like Republicans and Democrats, but Republicans will take advantage of you being distracted. Ooh, let me pause this. Of you being distracted so that they can slip this shit in. You know, Mike Lee, piece of shit, who was just spreading lies about the Trump supporting Minnesota assassin and who was tweeting things like Nightmare on Wall Street. Mike Lee's involved with this. Mike Lee chairs the Energy and Natural Resources Committee. He has been a long time advocate for ceding lands to local control. That he, who is the Republican senator in Utah, is overseeing selling these federal lands. And he's like, yeah, we're going to boost domestic energy production. We're going to create revenue streams, blah, 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 blah. I know. He's a bitch ass.
Increasing
He's a
little
bitch
slice
ass.
here, not very big. Number of nuclear. This is a great graph. Nuclear reactors,
water.
2023. China total and under construction. The United States under construction. China, hubba bubba, that's a lot. Right now, under construction. Japan had a lot of nuclear power plants, shut nearly all of them down after Fukushima, but that is again growing. Whereas in that time, China has now exceeded what Japan ever was. And here's new starts of nuclear construction around the world, and you can see that it's all China. It's just all China. There are some other places, but pretty much every year since 2008, China has had more nuclear power plants begin construction than the entire rest of the world combined. And it's worth looking at the US, where we had
China is like growing their armory around 100 warheads a year. China is, because that's the thing, all of these powers recognize that having the biggest nuclear arsenal is what will bring them more, supreme power. So there is no non-proliferation happening around nuclear power. It's only proliferating.
Had a huge number of nuclear power plants going online up through 1990, and then none, pretty much none, though we have had one new one go online just now, the Vogtdal Unit 3, which is a big deal. Like, we actually did get another one online. But I think that the United States government is a little bit looking at what China is up to right now. And maybe some people on one side of the aisle are thinking, boy, it would be good to create big mega projects that would employ people and also compete with China. I guess probably both sides of the aisle are pretty much feeling that vibe. And then one has the extra incentive of being like, oh my God, there's a crisis in the climate and we need to produce power, especially as demand for electricity goes up, which is going to happen for two reasons when we thought it was just one. We thought there was going to be an electrification of a lot of infrastructure, including vehicles, including heat, both in your home from heat pumps and industrial heat, which is going to require a lot of electricity if we electrify it, which we should. Industrial heat is just heating stuff up for industrial purposes, whether that's boiling off orange juice to make concentrate or doing all the stuff you need to make steel. But there's also another reason why we suddenly need to make more electricity, or want to, and we're going to talk about that soon. But first, we have to see what the US government has actually done to address this and maybe open up the possibility for more nuclear to be built in the US. Are there actually steps being taken? This is part of my case. And June 6th of 2024, Congress passes the Advance Act to facilitate US development of advanced nuclear reactors. This was passed by both houses of Congress and then signed by Joe Biden, and it is now a law. It is a change thing that is intended to boost nuclear reactor deployment in the US, both of existing technologies and potentially newer technologies. It's basically a regulatory reform thing. The big reason why we think the graph went like this is because we suddenly got new regulations on nuclear power, but also because people's opinions changed. Like, people wanted it less. Something relatively important happened around 1986 that maybe resulted...
People don't like living in a world where there are more nuclear weapons, there are more nuclear armed states, there are less and less limits on these on nuclear arsenals, and the open threats of using nukes are met with very little qualms from these governments. Like, there are fewer and fewer limits, and people don't like this. They don't. But now we are moving into really what is the third nuclear age, and it is the most it's the most terrifying.
In there being a little bit less support for nuclear reactors, and that was Chernobyl. And then, the ones that were in construction got completed, but then a lot of them didn't. And this is kind of silly, I think, because Chernobyl's design was very different from every nuclear reactor we've ever built in America. We've never built one like that. We build them a different way that's safer. But there's also lots of ways to build nuclear power plants. It's very difficult to regulate. There was lots of energy to be like, let's do it in the safest way possible. And that meant let's do it in the most expensive way possible. Like that. There's always going to be something else you could do to make something safer. And so if you have to have it be as safe as possible, then it will not be cost competitive with things that are less safe, like coal power, which is less safe than nuclear, kills way more people. Let's look at those numbers. What would you say is the most dangerous?
Wait. Hold on. This is Trump on the South Lawn tells reporters on possible U.S. strike against Iran. I may do it. I may not do it. Nobody knows what I'm going to do. I don't know what's going to happen. How it fucking feels right now.
I don't know what I'm going to do. I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what I'm going to do.
Yeah. So, you know, Donald Trump, who is fond of his nuclear button, which we already know. We already know. And loves to engage in threatening rhetoric.
Dangerous source of power. We've got our world and data here. It's coal by a long shot. So they kill people both from accidents and air pollution. Coal mining is extraordinarily difficult, but also air pollution kills a lot of people. And also they kill people through greenhouse gas emissions. You've also got oil, quite dangerous. Biomass, quite dangerous. Natural gas, not as dangerous from accidents and air pollution because it's actually a very clean burning fuel, but very dangerous from a climate science perspective. And then you got our little darlings here, wind, nuclear, solar. Very few deaths from accidents and pollution. And amazingly enough, nuclear has the lowest carbon impact of all of them because you have to build the solar power and the wind power. And that requires energy that is currently not produced renewably. Nuclear energy is very safe. Now, all of these are far safer than fossil fuels. But nuclear power, I'm sorry, it's super safe. From what we could tell, there is one thing I don't like about nuclear power, which is that it requires there to be more nuclear fuel in the world, and that can be used for various things if it falls into the wrong hands. Now, you can do everything you can to have it not fall into the wrong hands, but like, that's scary. I don't love that. I don't love having it in Russia, which is not like the most safe place, it feels like. But the U.S. government, both houses of Congress, both sides of the aisle, and Joe Biden with his pen have decided that we want to do things to incentivize nuclear power. And that's actually happening. So the government's doing it.
I think it's important to know there's a difference between like nuclear energy. Okay. So Iran, for instance, maintaining that the reason they have a uranium enrichment program is not because they are building weapons, but for nuclear energy, for like civilian purposes, as a way to generate power that is better for the environment, and not for generating weapons, you know, very dangerous, mass destructive level weapons of war.
In part in response to China, in part in response to the need for there to be more electricity. But there's a final force going on here, which I've alluded to several times. And it is that we thought electricity generation was going to go up for one reason, the electrification of infrastructure.
My understanding is that for nuclear weapons, uranium has to be enriched to like 90%. So, you know, almost total enrichment. Almost like, you know, pure uranium enrichment. And below that, like it's much lower levels of uranium enrichment for power plants.
Structure. But it is also going to go up for a new reason, which is that tech companies, some of the most powerful institutions in our culture, and also some of the most well-funded ones, are having a big fight over who's going to win the AI battle. And AI training specifically, but also just the use of it, requires a huge amount of electricity, and not in a way that you can manage. You can't say, I'm going to train my AI models when the solar panels are out, for a very important reason, which is that the expensive part of training an AI model isn't the electricity, it's the chips. You get these chips from NVIDIA that are like good at...
And so the thing is, so ultimately the question of Iran, you know, enriching uranium at percentages that is well above what is necessary for energy, right? For like power plants. and is closer to that which is required for weapons. My whole thing is the argument against Iran having nuclear weapons is Iran being a dangerous threat, a dictatorship, a theocracy, et cetera, et cetera. And this is where the political and moral question comes in, where Israel, which is such a clear danger, Israel, which is so out of control, which is, currently bombing 5 different areas in the Middle East, that is committing genocide, that leads with military might. Israel has nuclear weapons, and Israel refuses inspections of their nuclear programs. So why is it that it's okay for Israel, but it's not okay for Iran? The same religious threat that is posed by Iran, there's such religious extremists over there, which is why they're so threatening. Do we not hear that extremism with Israel, with the United States? Is not Ted Cruz out here posting scripture to justify Israel genociding Palestinians and bombing Iran? It really is a rules for thee, but not for me. Nuclear weapons are haram. Yes.
Training AI for reasons I don't understand, but I believe you, because obviously you're spending many billions of dollars on them. They buy the chips, and then they have to use the chips all of the time, because if they don't use them all of the time, they are not getting a good return on their investment. If you only use the chips during the time of the day when the solar power is happening, then you're only getting 40% of the value of your chips? No, you're not going to do that. You're a tech company that is now in a battle for its life to change everything from the ground up, whether or not it happens or not. They think that it will, and they're fighting for it, and they're telling their investors that this is the fight that they need to have. And all of these companies, previous to this sudden explosion in the need for new electricity use for the training and use of large language models and other generative AI, they all had these commitments to not just be 100% clean power, not just offset their emissions, but to have 24/7 all of the time to only be using clean power. And they made these commitments to, their employees and to the world.
Cool,
and now they're not going
thank
to be
you for
able
the
to
6 months.
And that is why these companies are doing wild things. Like Microsoft is restarting the reactor at 3 Mile Island. And also why Amazon has just invested more than $500 million to develop small modular reactors. These are little nuclear reactors that are easier to kind of mass produced and then plonk down in a place, which people think could make it cheaper rather than having to make every plant bespoke for the specific area where you're going to put it. The way that they're doing this right now is just natural gas. They're like, oh my God, we have to do this. We have to do it fast. And they're all competing with each other. And Elon's X, they just brought a ton of local natural gas plants in super fast to generate electricity at the data center without even getting approval for it. They're fighting so hard for this. And I am actually a believer that artificial intelligence is going to be a very big economic deal. I don't think that this is like crypto. I don't think that it's like the other nonsense, like the metaverse. There's just been so much nonsense lately, but this feels really real to me. I don't think this is made up. I think there's real value here. I don't know how we're going to capture it. I don't know if the way that we're doing right now is going to be a giant bubble that will explode and destroy everything. But I think it's real. I think this product is real. I don't love the way that it's being done, of course. I've made videos about that. But what Amazon's doing isn't just investing in a company to say, hey, maybe my investment will pay off sometime in the future. They're actually saying, hey, we're going to buy these small nuclear reactors from you. You're going to make them. We're going to own them. We're going to operate them, and they're going to power our data centers. So that's wild. There's been so much
Jeff Bezos is going to get nukes.
Time that people have spent saying that small modular reactors maybe will be a thing someday. And Amazon was just like, all right, they're going to be a thing. We're going to make them a thing because we need that clean, firm power. They need super firm power. And they also want it to be clean because they've made these commitments. I think Google has also done a nuclear thing. I don't know what it is. Google signed nuclear reactor deal. So that was 1 day ago when I recorded this video, which is a while ago. Because I've got a schedule, okay? Google also has a deal with Fervo, which is a geothermal power company that I mentioned earlier. I may have said Forvo. That's something else. What's Forvo? Did I make that up? I did. I just made that up. It's not a thing. I get that there are reasons to be skeptical of nuclear power. It's not great when bad stuff happens to them. It's happened 3 times. 3 Mile Island, Fukushima, and Chernobyl. Each time, pretty bad. Different levels of bad, but pretty bad. But there are a bunch of lines pointing in a direction that nuclear is going to be a bigger part of our power mix in the future. And I don't mean fusion. I mean fission. And they are: 1, China is building a lot of nuclear reactors right now, and including one that's going to launch in 2025 that's an entirely new kind of nuclear reactor that uses molten salts instead of water to carry around heat, which is safer and potentially cheaper for a bunch of reasons. But you have to totally redesign how you design your power plant when you use molten salt. The US wants to be competitive with China and doesn't like that they're getting better at something while we aren't, and so our government is changing the way that we're regulating nuclear power. I also think that people now are just less worried about nuclear power than they used to be, and they are more worried about climate change than they ever have been. I think
I feel like, okay, this video came out 7 months ago. People being worried about nuclear power. I think those worries are, I think right now there are fears. There are fears that have been there for a while, but especially in this moment, that are proliferating around nuclear weapons. And I don't think it's fears of Iran has nukes and so we have to we got to bomb them. I think it is a general sense of seeing how nuclear weapons are proliferating, of understanding that more states are going to have nukes, because now in this world, in this day and age, you need to have nukes to protect yourself. That you don't want the US to invade, you don't want the, Israel and the US to bomb you, then you're going to get nukes. So therefore there's just going to be more nukes. And then when Russia and the US's nuclear arms treaty expires, what's going to happen there? But also, nuclear weapons are not nuclear power. Again, it's not nuclear power that is the concern. It's
a
nuclear
rational way to see things. I think that nuclear power is less scary than climate change. I think that we need electricity and we should get more of it fast in whatever way we can. And I think that these regulatory changes will make nuclear power less expensive. I also think that
nuclear engineer here working for the IAEA. When it comes to the fuel used for nuclear power plants, most use uranium rich to the 5%. Some use plutonium, but it's rare. This uranium plant's use, it's really, really safe. The fear of making a so-called dirty bomb with that uranium wouldn't be good. So this fear people have of stealing the fuel used in power plants for making bombs is not realistic, but no one knows that. Yeah, and I think there is a general kind of confusion, just lack of knowledge around nuclear power and nuclear weapons, right? Of this being something where the development of nuclear power plants, of low grade enriched uranium for nuclear power is not what's a concern. But also, I don't know, man, this whole fucking conversation around nukes and Iran just feels so ridiculous, because the US has massive nuclear arsenal, and Israel has a nuclear arsenal as well. And both of these two are aggressors in this region. So what is this conversation even around, okay, well, the uranium being enriched in Iran is reaching levels that are closer to that which is required for the building of weapons versus that of nuclear energy. And it's okay, but then over here you have nuclear armed states that are like not having restrictions at all, that are just like racing against one another to have the biggest arsenal.
The tech world getting into nuclear and saying, we will come to your place and build data centers in your state if you build nuclear power plants, could be a really big deal. I think that them buying small modular nuclear reactors could be a really big deal. Like, that's going to create a first market for these things so that they can continue to hopefully, ideally, decrease the price of them. And it solves a real problem that I think if we wait for geothermal to solve it, we might have to wait too long. Nuclear is just obviously a much more mature technology than the kind of geothermal that we would need to be scalable. There's certainly mature geothermal, but it requires there to be lots of hot rocks very close to the surface, which is not the case everywhere. Whereas this new company, Fervo, which I would love, there's great videos. I don't have to make one. You can go watch a video on Fervo and how it works. Is a geothermal power plant that you could put basically anywhere. It doesn't rely on there being specific geologic features. First thorium molten salt nuclear power station. It's happening, you guys. It's really going to be a thing. This is, again, kind of shocking that this is happening. Like, I've heard about thorium reactors being maybe built for 30 years, and there's finally got to be a real one online. And you can see, yes, I am interested in purchasing fossils. Google's like, I know what kind of nerd you are. And then there's one final thing.
Yeah, and like, look, okay, Iran doesn't have nukes, but if this war on Iran sparks a world war, right? Everyone's talking about, is this World War III? Do you know who's being drawn in? Countries that do have massive nuclear arsenals.
That is a reason why I think this is underexamined, but a reason why I think nuclear power might be about to get a little bit of a foothold, which is that a lot of coal-fired power plants are retiring, which means, one, that power isn't going to be being put on the grid, but two, all of the equipment and infrastructure is already there in a place that isn't going to be producing power anymore. So you have all of these big power lines heading into a centralized location. You have turbines that you might be able to reuse. You have a community that is reliant on
Iran's barrage yesterday was brutal. Israel's probably begging to be allowed to nuke. Wait, who wasn't it? What fucking far-right politician in Israel was saying that they should just nuke Gaza? Like, they have already said that about Gaza. Honestly, the reason that they wouldn't is because it would, Gaza is so small that it would affect people living within Israel's borders. Like, it would have an effect on Israel. Not that they give a shit about that. They kill their own hostages. But yeah, no, this is absolutely something that they have discussed in the war room, because they make these comments publicly about, hey, maybe we just finally use a little of the nukes. Also, to add to the fear of what happened also thank you for the 2 months, Rexona. To add to the fear of what happened in Fukushima and Chernobyl, we have to remember the regulations didn't exist back then, and most new nuclear reactors have to withstand the craziest conditions, earthquakes, even though the country the reactor might be located don't suffer from them. Yes, and for the millionth time, like, Iran has allowed inspections of their uranium enrichment sites. They have allowed their nuclear program to be under treaty, and national intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, testified just in March that no, Iran is not building nuclear weapons. Like, they do not have them, and they are not building them. That intelligence has not changed.
There being a power station there that's used to having a power station there, and so you can just convert an old coal-fired power plant into a
and
nuclear
there's been
power
two
plant
U.S. Republicans
and
who have
use a
said
lot of the
just
same
nuke
equipment
Gaza.
because it's just all of the parts where you're just boiling water are the same. All of the parts where you're just taking a lot of electricity out of one place and distributing it to a wide area, those are the same. You can reuse a lot of that same stuff. And so if we're retiring all these coal-fired power plants, we have a bunch of infrastructure ready for something else to plug into them. Now, you can have that be natural gas. Like, it can be. You could convert it to natural gas. And I think we've done that. Coal power plant convert natural gas. Please figure that out. More than 100 coal-fired power plants have been replaced or converted to natural gas since 2011. So that makes sense. But you can also do this with nuclear. And I wonder, have we ever done that? I don't think we have, but I think that we're looking at doing it. Converting coal plants to nuclear could save new construction costs. The DOE report also found nuclear plants could save up to 35% on construction costs, depending on how much of the existing site assets could be repurposed from the retired coal-fired power plants. So that's a thing. That's also a thing. Now, a lot of people are going to want to have that be natural gas because that is the most mature, clear, obvious technology to convert to. But if converting it to a nuclear plant instead will convince Google or Amazon or OpenAI to open a data center in your town and hire a bunch of people to have high-paying tech jobs, then
I don't know. Maybe this is me just not understanding enough about nuclear power, but I know it takes a long time. And as far as fixing climate change, it just feels that we actually need things immediately, things that are, immediate actions and not ones that, in years we will have these different sources of energy. Shonda Black, thank you for the raid. Reparations raid. That's right. Reparations raid. Oh, it's Juneteenth, y'all. That's right. It's Juneteenth. Don't forget, as we're going to war, as we are in war with Iran, that it is Juneteenth. Juneteenth, no tweet. I am not an ally. Wow. I posted that black square and I did not look back. What is Juneteenth? Wait, for real? For real, or are you trolling? Also, is it I like that one of, if you Google Juneteenth, it'll say, is it okay to wish people happy Juneteenth? I love that. That's white people who are like, is it okay to wish a black person happy Juneteenth, or is that weird? It is a holiday. It is a holiday, and it's commemorating the end of slavery. But is that is that improper? Is that inappropriate? Anywho, okay, so y'all, we have been just watching this Hank Green video. It's almost done, about the new nuclear age. He's been talking about nuclear power plants and energy, etc. And the thing I was saying, as a layman, as somebody who's just not well versed in energy, what was the other question I had? Oh, nuclear power plants as a target as well, right? Where if we are in this age where we're just gonna bomb all of our enemies because we're gonna bomb all our energies. Sorry, oh my god, I'm so tired. We are bombing our enemies because we claim that they are building nuclear weapons, or that they have nuclear weapons. Then nuclear power plants would be targets, right? As we've already seen, that the uranium enrichment sites, the nuclear areas in Iran are being struck by Israel. So it's just by virtue of being nuclear plants will be targeted. And my question is so is this the reality that nuclear power as an alternate source, which takes a long time and money to produce, will be could have a target on its back? When Russia invaded Ukraine, they shot at a nuclear plant, right?
You might do that instead. And also you have these new regulations that make that a little bit easier. Also, you have this competition from China that's maybe adding new insight into how to build safe, effective, less expensive nuclear power plants. All of these things feel to me like they are adding up toward a future where we have gone from decades of just no nuclear power to potentially it being a really important part of the power mix in the next 10 years. And I don't know if it's going to happen for sure. I'd love for geothermal to catch up so fast that it obviates the need for that. That all the people who work in the fossil fuel industry are like, no, we're going to convert over to geothermal and we're going to make that happen. And we're going to make it cheaper than nuclear, faster than nuclear can scale up. That is what I want to happen. I do. I'd rather that. I think geothermal will be a better long-term power source. But it's just not anywhere near as mature as nuclear is right now. So if I had to put money on it, I would put money on the fact that we're moving into a world with a lot more nuclear power. And that is the end of my video.
Yippee skippy. All right. How much time do I have before my parents get here? Okay. All right. Okay. The correct answer is all of the above. Wait, what is all of the above? Oh, you know what I've been wanting to watch, actually? Okay. I've been wanting to watch Javier Bardem on The View.
The situation in Gaza has come to a term now where I cannot, for example, the situation in Gaza, which
every solution.
See and of course they have to return those hostages, obviously. But the situation in Gaza has come to a term now where I cannot express the pain that I, along with many millions of people there, suffered on a daily basis watching those horrible images of children being murdered and starving to death, being absolutely blocked the aid of medicines, water, medical material,
Food.
Kids that have been amputated without anesthesia.
Yeah.
People that yesterday they were shot, 25 people were shot while they were looking for...
I was in like one of those dark, which seem to be more common these days, dark places last night, reading about the IDF opening fire on the on the big group of Palestinians who were at the aid site, and like it's insane that after almost 2 years of genocide, that what's happening with like these massacres at aid sites is like producing some of the highest death tolls per day in 2 years of an ongoing genocide. That is, it's staggering. It's staggering, where it's like another 150 Palestinians have been killed, 300 injured because they were desperately waiting for food, were, corralled together, and then the IDF opened fire on them, and they're not even denying it. Like, that's the point that we're at now. Israel isn't even denying it because they don't have to. God, they're so fucking evil, man. It's such evil. It's such evil. I don't know how you look at it and see it is anything other than just the purest fucking evil.
Humanitarian aid in what they call the Hunger Games. Mm-hmm. I mean, experts on international law, experts on International Amnesty International, international human rights.
Like, remember when the first flower massacre happened and how shocking that was? When, like, the Palestinians waiting for flour at a Gaza aid site were massacred, and now that happens all the time. Like, same thing with bombing hospitals. The first time that a hospital was bombed and they went, oh, it wasn't us, but then switched to, oh yeah, no, we did bomb it, but yeah, it's because there's Hamas tunnels under that. And now like 36 hospitals have been destroyed. Okay, it is so horrifying that now things happen consistently. Like, there was the first flower massacre, and now there's just many flower massacres. Now it's like they're always killing Palestinians who are waiting for aid.
And some people that know.
Hamas purposely disrupts aid. Things aren't nearly as black and white as you're making them out to be. I'm too tired. I am too fucking tired, man. I am too fucking tired. Like, Israel's over here not even denying that they're murdering Palestinians who are waiting for aid, and you still have people like Hamas. Hamas is disrupting the aid. Do you condemn Hamas? It's not black and white. Israel has the right to defend itself. And defend itself by killing Palestinians who are waiting for fucking flour because they're starving to death. And Israel has openly admitted to blocking aid. Like, man, fucking hell, dude. We're not even dealing with a situation here where Israel is even denying stuff anymore. They're not even lying anymore. They just are like, yeah, oops. Well, because it doesn't matter. Because they just keep going. That's what happens when you're so out of fucking control. That's what happens when you have the hubris with which you operate, the impunity with which you operate has reached a point where you engage in genocide and murderous rampages, and you don't even have to pretend that you're not doing that. And in fact, you use it as a way to like show how militarily strong you are, of how unstoppable you are, where it's like, yeah, you get in our way, we'll fucking murder you. You pose a threat to our ultimate hegemony in the region. We'll kill you. We'll kill your family. We'll kill you. We'll kill your entire bloodline. We don't give a fuck. We don't give a fuck about having to hide that anymore.
What they're talking, and Holocaust survivors are calling a genocide for it. And if you ask me, I believe it's a genocide. Why is that? First of all, because the impunity that is taking Israel in doing these actions and the lack of action.
Yeah, I just have to say, too, the reason that this is also important is because The View, it's not like The View is pro-Palestine. It's not like The View has been out here talking about the genocide of Palestinians. And in fact, they have laundered pro-Israel propaganda. Okay, so that Javier Bardem was on The View and spoke for 2 minutes on the genocide in Gaza was
any
like
government,
a big
of
deal.
course, the backup of the United States with all these weapons and the economics, and also the silence of Europe, is creating in a scenario where there's such an impunity that if we really don't do something about that, we are going towards, well, what is happening now. And an absolute impunity on creating wars all over and creating so much pain that is going to affect so many people.
Yeah.
But also, and with this I will finish, the most important thing is to
and then
not
here comes
lose
the
the
here comes the
humanity
music.
And really
and now we go on break. But he spoke for 2 minutes.
when we have to denounce and who we have to denounce.
Javier, come back.
Javier,
example,
come back, but maybe don't speak about the genocide in Gaza so much. And the chatter Hosphorus used talking points that I'm sure slavers use. Well, slavery isn't black and white. It's a lot more complicated than that. Yeah, no, you know what they said back then? They said that people liked being slaves. They said it was good for them, okay? Oh yeah, no, these Africans are so uncivilized that they need this. It's good for them. That's literally what was said. And then here was also him on the red carpet.
Or more focus on what it matters, no? Like this matters. Of course this matters, and we are celebrating movies, and Variety celebrates movies, but also we cannot forget about what happened in the real world while we're celebrating fiction. Real world, in Gaza are dying thousands of children of starvation, and it's a genocide taking place in front of our eyes in 4K. And American support has to stop financing bombs that are killing so many thousands of children. And the Western European countries has to start doing actions, taking actions into cutting ties with Israel. And not enough with the words, more actions. But also
Yeah, so I just want to be so clear too. We need to stop saying that the US is being dragged into war with Israel, that the US is being forced into anything. No, the US is making these choices. There is no being dragged into anything. The United States is fully making these choices. Now, we can talk about how, as far as the superpower and the proxy, doesn't seem to be that relationship anymore, that like the US just goes attacks on Israel's attacks on us, and how Israel, Netanyahu and other Israeli officials are like out here bragging about the control that they have over the US. So the perception being that Israel is running the show here, but like that, don't confuse that with the US is being dragged into anything in like the US has no agency here. They are a willing and participating sponsor. Yeah. 100p. Okay. Shit. I did not get to cover Adriana Smith and Christian extremism, which is the whole thing that I wanted to cover. The story of the woman who was in Georgia who was declared brain dead in February, and they conducted a medical experiment on her and used her as an intubator, and kept the fetus, she was pregnant, kept the fetus alive, and like cut it out of her yesterday. It's 1 pound. It is in the ICU. And anyway, it's a horrifying story, but it ties in. I mean, all this shit ties in, but I posted about this yesterday where I was like, we're always talking about liberating women from Islam. How about we liberate women from like far right Christian extremism that is driving this legislation? Georgia has a heartbeat bill, which means that heartbeat being detected, no abortion. Sorry, you have no choice here. And it was against her family's wishes that they kept her on, like, she was brain dead, but they kept her on on life support so that they could use her as an incubator. Anyway, so this is the story that I really want to get into, because I think it's like one of those, I think this is like a testing ground type thing where they're trying, they want to like they want women's bodies to simply be vessels for carrying children, right? For like, alive or dead doesn't matter, that they are not human beings. They are simply vessels for babies. I'm glad you're covering Adriana Smith, because it seems like it hasn't been on a blip on anyone's radar. I wish there was more outrage and attention. I know. I mean, it's one of the sickest things that I have ever read. Like, she was starting to rot, which is why they finally were like, we got to cut this baby out. And it was 1 pound, which means most likely this child is going to be disabled, being born at 1 pound. And of course, the system is not going to take care of this child at all. Yeah. It is so many levels of evil, and the precedent they're trying to set with this is abominable. But anyway, I'm going to cover that. She was decaying, and I know. It's like something out of a horror movie. I'm going to cover that tomorrow. I'll probably stream tomorrow morning again since my parents will be here, but I have to go because my parents are going to be getting here. I got to get some things ready for them. Maybe I'll have mom and dad come on the stream. Yo, Caroline, super quick. Did you know Diego Luna volunteered to be a Zapatista? Yes, I did. I did know that. Okay, so yeah, make sure remind me tomorrow when I stream that I to get into the details on that, because I also have not seen a lot of media coverage on that story. So we'll make sure that we cover that. Thanks for the early stream. Have a great rest of your day. Yeah, sorry. I know that sometimes the morning streams are short because I usually have to go off and do something, but I'm glad to be here this morning with you all. I hope you have a good rest of your day, and I don't know what else is there for me to say to you. That's it. Wait, let me do a little subtle advertising. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. And if you're feeling tired, remember Celsius. I'm just kidding. I'm not sponsored, but if Celsius does want to sponsor me, you know what? I'll take free Celsius. That's what I will take. Okay, I'm going to send you guys over to I'm going to send you over to oh, you know what? Jaina's live. We'll send you to Jaina. Okay. Goodbye, everybody. Goodbye. I will see you later. Yeah, remember, 0% juice. And that's it. That's all. See you next time. No, I just got here.